In the mysterious first episode of From, something strange is happening in a small town. Boyd Stevens walks the streets, ringing a bell that sends everyone hurrying home, a ritual that seems both urgent and ominous. At a diner, Sarah Myers is closing up, urging her last customers to leave. When they do, a jukebox starts playing on its own, adding to the eerie atmosphere. Outside, young Megan Pratt is enjoying the swings, but her mother Lauren insists she comes inside, hinting at some unseen danger. Boyd, still on his rounds, also encourages Megan to go in. Nearby, Kenny is playing chess with his dad Bing Qianlu. Their game is interrupted by Christy, wearing an EMT shirt, who tells Bing it's time to head to the basement. Bing reacts angrily, throwing the chess pieces in frustration. Kenny talks to Christy outside, sharing his hope that his dad will recover from whatever ails him. After Kenny leaves, Christy checks something mysterious by the door. Boyd, still vigilant, watches people outside a distant house. He and Kenny check that everything is safe before Kenny heads home. At the post office, a sign reveals it's been 96 days since the last incident, hinting at ongoing danger. Elsewhere, Frank Pratt is being pushed to go home by Tom, who's worried about Frank's wife Lauren's reaction. Lauren, at home with Megan, tries to reassure her daughter about Frank's return, but her words seem uncertain. After Megan prays, she hears a knock at the window and sees her grandmother, but something feels off. Her grandmother beckons her, promising to keep it their secret. This episode sets the stage for a series filled with suspense and mystery, where every character seems to be hiding something, and danger lurks just out of sight. Megan moves to the window and pulls back the curtain. As she does, Lauren enters the room and is surprised when Megan comments that the lady outside doesn't resemble her grandmother. Ignoring Lauren's warning, Megan opens the window, only to be assaulted by a creature.
I'm so lonely.
Baby, please just...
Maybe I can come in?
Switching scenes, we see the Matthews family in their RV. Jim is at the wheel while Tabitha sits beside him. Their kids, Julie and Ethan, are in the back. Julie uses hand puppets to stage a play, and Ethan is visibly upset, begging her to revive a character named Norman. Tabitha tries to soothe Ethan by assuring him that monsters are fictional, so Norman must still be alive. Meanwhile, Frank decides it's time to head out. He's surprised to find a crowd outside his house and thinks Lauren has organized another community event. But things take a dark turn when Boyd confronts Frank outside, angrily accusing him of not securing the house properly. He drags Frank inside to confront the consequences of his negligence, threatening dire consequences if he refuses to look. Boyd then orders Kenny to imprison Frank. Downstairs, Boyd reports to Father Katri, declaring that everyone is now under his care. As Katri ascends the stairs, Boyd spots a fallen decorative item. Back in the RV, Jim reminisces about the first time they visited Tabitha's parents, recalling his fear of their disapproval. Tabitha, however, asks him not to dwell on the past. Suddenly, their journey is interrupted by a fallen tree blocking the road. They realize they need to backtrack. Ethan, intrigued by the tree, wants to walk on it, and Jim cautiously helps him. Just then, a group of crows gathers overhead, unsettling them enough to decide to leave quickly. In another scene, Boyd visits Donna, who reminds him of a previous agreement that he wouldn't come around anymore. However, Boyd insists on seeing his son, Ellis. Inside, he finds Ellis sketching a portrait of Fatima, who is delighted to see him. After a warm reunion, Boyd shares with Ellis the sad news of recent losses in their community, suggesting it would be good for him to attend a memorial service. Ellis is busy when his dad, Boyd, comes to talk to him. He tells Boyd he's occupied, and Boyd decides to leave.
It might be nice if you came to the service.
Elsewhere, Julie's phone loses its signal, and Tabitha also realizes they might have taken a wrong turn. Jim tries to lighten the mood with Ethan, making jokes about the crows they saw. However, Tabitha points out they were actually ravens. As the Matthews family drives into Boyd's town in their RV, they notice something odd. All the parked vehicles have flat tires. They stop near a funeral where Father Katri is leading a prayer for Lauren and Megan. Jim steps out to ask for directions, but the locals ignore him. Boyd steps in, telling the townspeople to leave the Matthews alone and saying he and Kenny will help them. Boyd advises Jim to keep driving up the hill to find the highway. Back in the RV, the family is unsure how long it will take to reach the highway. Julie scares Ethan by telling him that a group of crows is called a murder. Jim asks her to stop, and Tabitha corrects them, saying they're ravens, known as an unkindness when in a group. The family ends up back in the small town, where the locals still seem uninterested in helping them.
Wait. Did we turn somewhere?
No,
Tabitha suggests they just leave, guessing they missed their turn. In town, a woman comments on the sadness of still hoping to find the road home. Sarah tells her brother Kevin to move on, as there are chores to do. Meanwhile, Tabitha and Jim argue about the wrong turn they took and getting lost. Right after they start driving again, Jim and his family find themselves back where they began. Jim tries another direction, but their journey takes a sudden turn. Kenny and Boyd are talking when they see the RV approaching. Jim tries to dodge a car on the road but ends up crashing the RV. He quickly checks on his family. Julie is hurt but okay, Ethan is trapped with what seems like a branch through his leg, and Tabitha is unconscious. Jim himself is stuck in the driver's seat, blocked by a tree that smashed through the windshield. The driver of the other car, a bit dazed, walks over to Boyd and Kenny and tells them about the crash. Boyd tells Kenny to get help from Katri and Christy, then rushes to the RV, while Kenny handles the man from the car. The man, Toby McRae, makes his way to the clinic and meets Christy. Another guy, trying to get out of Toby's car, is a bit disoriented and ends up handcuffed to the car by Boyd for safety. Boyd then focuses on helping Jim and his family, assuring them that more help is on the way. He gets into the RV, checks on Tabitha, and then helps Julie get out. Meanwhile, Father Katri and Kenny ask Ellis to help them as it's getting dark. Ellis, despite being upset with his father, agrees. At the clinic, Gina takes care of Toby, while Bing, another resident, expresses his displeasure about Toby's arrival. At the accident site, Christy attends to Jade, the man handcuffed to the car, while Julie is taken out of the RV. Boyd reassures her that more help is coming. Jade flirts with Christy as she checks his hand and leg movements.
I'm Jade.
Hi, Jade. Any pain or anything like that?
What's your name?
I'm Christy.
Ellis notices the car's New York license plates and recalls that Sarah and Nathan, two people they know, were also from New York, but Christy thinks they were from Boston. As more help arrives, the situation at the accident site becomes increasingly hectic. Father Katri offers Jade a drink, and Jade comments on the beauty of the people around him. In the clinic, Sarah tends to Toby, giving him a drink and reassuring him he's now in a safe place. Ellis and Kenny manage to get Tabitha out of the wrecked RV. Tabitha and Julie check on each other, but Tabitha suddenly feels weak and almost collapses. Christy updates Boyd about a patient's condition. He's stable, breathing fine, and has a strong pulse, but there's a table leg impaled in his thigh. They can't just pull it out. It'll take about an hour to do it safely. Boyd wonders if Christy can stitch up the patient inside the RV. Christy thinks it's possible and goes inside to help. She instructs Jim on how to support his son's neck to avoid further injury. She suggests Jim should go talk to his wife outside. Outside, Boyd is trying to persuade the family to go indoors for their safety, especially the children's.
We don't have a lot of time to talk about this.
We're not leaving anywhere.
Please listen to me. These woods are not safe after dark.
Meanwhile, Sarah is with Toby, who is panicking about something he did. In an unexpected turn, Sarah calms him with a kiss before suddenly ending his life. Boyd tells Ellis to free the handcuffed man if he causes trouble, but Ellis is skeptical about their situation. Boyd just asks Ellis to focus on helping the family. Tabitha, speaking with Jim, suggests they leave with Thomas, but Jim has to remind her their son Ethan is the one trapped in the RV. Jim attempts to explain the situation to Tabitha, who remains distrustful of the locals. Kenny interrupts, urging them to leave immediately. Back in the RV, Christy is looking for lamps or lanterns. Boyd clings to an ornament, hoping it will offer protection through the night. He prepares the RV for departure, ensuring everyone is as safe as possible. On their way back to town, their truck hits spike strips on the road. Father Katri assures them they'll be okay if they can reach Colony House. Kenny urges everyone to run fast.
Shit!
Regardless of what they encounter, Jim is confused about Boyd's earlier statement regarding the RV's safety, but Boyd insists there are things Jim wouldn't understand. Ethan wakes up in pain and starts having convulsions. Christy instructs Jim on what to do while Boyd covers the windows. Outside, Boyd hears a disturbing sound and looks out, only to see a group of people approaching the RV. Kenny struggles with his emotions as he tries to cut down a tree. Back at the RV, Christy is doing her best to help Ethan, who has just stopped having seizures. He's breathing and stable now. Outside, Jim hears voices and thinks they're there to help, but Boyd disagrees, insisting they're not human and not here to help. Meanwhile, Ellis, Julie, and others are hurrying back to their house to escape the creatures. Jade falls, slowing them down, but they pick him up and carry him to safety. A woman inside a house spots them and starts ringing a bell, alerting everyone that there are people outside. When Fatima sees Ellis outside, She gets into an argument with a guard who won't open the door. Donna comes down and orders the door to be opened. As Julie and her group are approached by a couple of people, including someone Julie knows, Kenny takes a shot at one of them. The group quickly gets inside, but they're forced to lie on the floor and are tied up. Boyd and Christy wonder if the creatures have left, but it's hard to say. Boyd checks on Jim, who's concerned about the strange creatures. Boyd explains that they use talismans in the town for protection, though no one knows exactly how they work. Jim is skeptical about the talismans, finding the idea unbelievable. Christy and Jim then discuss Ethan's seizures, which are unusual for him. Christy decides to focus on treating Ethan's leg injury, giving him a sedative to ease his pain. Trudy and Ellis talk about Jade and the 2 cars they found. Trudy is curious about Jade's watch, but Ellis tells her not to touch anything. Despite Ellis's instructions, Trudy decides to stay and watch over Jade for a while. Donna comes back to Tabitha and says sorry for the earlier situation, but she tells her it was necessary and she'll understand soon. When Donna frees her,
Listen, sorry about what happened down there, but it was necessary. We'll understand that soon.
Tabitha tries to rush to her daughter but is stopped by Donna and a man with a gun. After calming down, Donna explains that these are just safety measures they take because everyone reacts differently on their first night. She reassures Tabitha that everyone there has been through this and they don't intend to harm her or her daughter. Donna wants to explain the new rules to Tabitha before letting her see her daughter and asks if she believes in monsters. Downstairs, Julie is tied up when Victor comes in to get some peaches. He mentions that they're not really supposed to have them, but Donna sometimes lets it slide. He offers to share the peaches with Julie and comments on how unusual it is to have 2 cars arrive at the same time. Fatima then steps in, telling Victor to leave Julie alone. Once he's gone, Fatima tells Julie that Victor is a bit weird but harmless. She says she'll be Julie's companion for now, explaining that they tie up newcomers because their first night can be overwhelming and scary. Fatima admits that pointing guns at them was too much but assures Julie that everyone is just trying to do their best. She offers to untie Julie and show her something if she promises not to panic.
We just don't want anyone getting hurt.
Fatima takes Julie to see Ellis' drawings, suggesting that Ellis might want to draw Julie because she's beautiful. Fatima explains the need to keep windows covered, as the creatures outside try to mess with your mind and lure you to let them in. She encourages Julie to look out the window, but not to look down, suggesting that even nightmares can seem dreamlike from high enough. Meanwhile, Christy checks on Ethan, confirming his breathing and pulse are okay. They hear someone outside offering help, and Jim wonders what will happen if they get inside. He questions why Boyd doesn't use his gun, but Boyd explains it's useless against them. As Boyd tries to keep everyone calm, he assures them that the creatures can only enter if they're let in. Christy starts panicking about the talisman not working, but Boyd reassures her that they'll be alright. In the midst of the chaos, everyone is trying to focus on helping Ethan. Kenny is upset with Father Katri because Julie and Tabitha are restrained, but Ellis informs them that a room is ready on the 3rd floor. There's a brief debate about whether they should be tied up, but it's left unresolved.
But you're not gonna tie us up first?
Jade is unconscious, and when he wakes up, he's expected to struggle because of the drugs in his system. Ellis and Kenny have a disagreement about the spike strip on the road, but Father Katri intervenes. To ease the tension, Ellis offers them alcohol. Meanwhile, Bing Qianlu, who reveals his real name as Fu Hen, is playing chess with Gina. He shares that chess was a universal language for him, helping him communicate when he first arrived in America and didn't speak English. Christy and others are working to remove the object from Ethan's leg. The procedure is painful and loud but successful, and they start stitching him up. Sarah Myers is deeply disturbed after ending Toby's life. She's pacing, struggling with her actions, and tries to remove the screwdriver from Toby's neck, then contemplates further actions with a scalpel. Kenny, drinking with Katri, talks about his mother's likely worries and shares memories of his father making him play chess for hours. He admits he used to hate it, but now appreciates Christy's care for his father. Katri reassures Kenny that Boyd and the others will be fine and plans to pick them up in the morning. Kenny expresses his emotional strain due to recent events involving Lauren and Megan. He feels on the brink of breaking down.
You know, he used to make me play for hours when I was a kid, and I hated it.
Elsewhere, Ellis talks to Julie about Fatima and learns she's just using the restroom. They discuss Julie's mom, who is busy talking to Donna. While discussing his drawings, Tabitha hints that Donna might be unstable, but Donna reflects on the strange occurrences they've experienced, drawing a parallel to her sister, who was known to be quite a character. Donna and her sister were hunting when they encountered a tree blocking the road. Tabitha is shocked to hear that Donna knew about the tree and the crows. Donna had suggested returning to a motel, but her sister was worried about their deer meat spoiling. When they drove into the town, they saw people in the street. The second time around, someone blocked their way. Donna's sister got out with a shotgun, yelling at the person to move, but the figure just stood there, smiling eerily. Then, in a horrifying moment, it attacked her sister. Donna ran away, hiding in the bushes. She recalls this was how people survived in this place. Hearing her sister's screams, Donna understood she was being tortured, believing the attackers enjoyed the hunt and the game. Tabitha was fortunate to have been found and helped while the sun was still up. Even after 3 years, Donna is haunted by her sister's screams.
But it just stood there, smiling.
In the RV, Christy, a third-year medical student, prepares saline to clean Ethan's wound. She talks about improvising in their situation. Jim, an engineer who designs theme park attractions, is still speaking as if everything is normal, which Christy finds odd. Ethan, in pain, mentions seeing the lake of tears and drawings on the walls, reminiscent of his childhood drawings that his father would hang on the fridge. Victor, meanwhile, is sketching a scene of the vehicle crash. Ethan tells his dad about a spider coming down from the ceiling, causing someone to scream. Jim reassures his son that everything will be alright. Kenny shares with Father Katri about his father's dementia. He recounts a time when his father wandered off and took a bus to the city. On their drive to retrieve him, Kenny's mother was frustrated, not understanding that his father couldn't control his actions. Kenny hoped for a second chance to make things right, but their journey was cut short by the downed tree. Later, Katri finds Kenny asleep during their conversation. In another scene, Sarah is showering while her brother knocks on the door, mentioning he took a nap and didn't realize she had arrived. She opens the door and asks Kevin for help, saying she had no other choice.
I didn't have a choice.
Gina, in the meantime, urges Bing to rest. Bing confesses he's scared and troubled by nightmares. When Gina checks on Toby, she's shocked to find him dead. Panicked, she tries to escape but encounters 2 eerie figures or creatures at the door. Frightened, she runs downstairs and locks herself in a room. Jim picks up a talisman, wondering how it works. Suddenly, monsters seem to break in, but it turns out to be just a nightmare Christy is having. Boyd reassures everyone that they'll be safe now that daylight is approaching. Tabitha and the others arrive in a van, and Jim carries Ethan out of the RV, back to the road. Sarah confides in her brother about a little girl and broken glass. The girl keeps trying to piece together the broken shards, even though they cut her and make her bleed. Sarah says the girl believes there's a meaning in the broken pieces. Sarah also admits she hears voices telling her it had to appear as if monsters were responsible for certain actions. She reluctantly confesses she left a door open, leading to a tragic event.
Sarah.
I hear their voices. And it's just like the broken glass.
Kenny and others arrive at the clinic and find the door ajar. Kenny rushes in to check, with Father Katri following. Inside, they discover Bing has died. Kenny, grieving, holds Bing and then goes outside to chop down a tree. Boyd tells Kenny they're heading back to Colony House for the night. Kenny shares that the chess set he made with his father is ruined, stained with blood. He observes that the monsters walk slowly, as if they know their victims have limited places to hide. Boyd removes a chessboard, indicating another incident has occurred. He then sits down and pulls out a key with a boat-shaped fob reading to buoy D. Meanwhile, Julie plays with Ethan, being kinder to him. Ethan seems fixated on something outside the window but doesn't share what he sees. Outside, a boy dressed in white tells Ethan to stay quiet as the episode concludes. In the first couple of episodes of From, we got a glimpse into the lives of the residents, the new arrivals, and the strict rules everyone must follow to survive. In the third episode, titled Choosing Day, we see the impact of these rules and how people deal with their tough everyday lives, which barely resembles normal living. Jade, involved in the crash with the Matthews RV, mistakenly thinks he's been dropped into a life-sized game. He wanders from Colony House to the diner, exploring the town and chatting with locals. He's on a mission to unravel the game he believes he's in, even doubting his friend's death. The explanations given by the townspeople seem too bizarre for newcomers to easily believe. The Matthews family faces a big decision: whether to settle in the Colony House or stay in the town.
Sorry to interrupt. Father Katri's here to talk to you about the choosing ceremony.
Father Katri takes the parents on a tour, answering their questions and showing them the harsh consequences of rule breaking, including a chilling example involving a mother and daughter. The family struggles to come to terms with the harsh reality of their new surroundings, a mix of disbelief and dawning realization on their faces. Sheriff Boyd Stevens faces a tough decision, using the town's extreme form of punishment, which is leaving someone outside overnight without any protective talisman, essentially a death sentence. Father Katri points out that not using this harsh method could lead people to think there are no consequences for wrongdoing. This adds to the already high stress levels among the townsfolk as they try to live their daily lives. The show continues to captivate with its tense atmosphere and sense of dread, although some plotlines seem a bit forced or out of place. There are many stories being balanced in this episode, and while they're handled well, it's unclear if all are necessary, even in the early stages of setting up the show's world. More revelations are expected, hopefully leading to more thrilling developments and insights into the town's intriguing characters. Adding Jade's story to the mix brings an extra layer of weirdness and complexity. By the episode's end, he starts to realize there's more to the town than meets the eye. His challenges are an interesting foil to what the Matthews family is facing, especially with their 2 young children, each coping in different ways, adding to the family's stress. Choosing Day throws a lot of ideas and storylines at the audience, hinting it's time to delve deeper into the town's secrets that the writers have been cautiously circling. The town is like a powder keg of tension, and it's intriguing to think about where the story will head next. We knew Victor had been in the town for a long time, but now we know he grew up there. This town raised him, and can you even imagine that? One day, as a young boy, Victor comes out of an underground cellar, holding his unique disco metal lunchbox. But his good mood quickly vanishes when he finds the path to town littered with bodies. He then makes a colorful drawing of Julie Matthews, who wakes up to see him sketching her. Victor talks about how dreams can turn out to be real memories. He hands her the picture and leaves. Trudy, noticing her pillow with Julie, asks for it back. Julie feels a bit embarrassed about having Trudy's pillow, but Trudy explains it's like her comfort item. Julie thinks Trudy's okay with her having used it because she was asleep. It seems like sharing things is a common practice at Colony House. Jim finds Tabitha resting on a dining table and suggests turning on a light to make things less gloomy. Tabitha prefers the dimness, saying it's her favorite time of day. Jim recalls her crying all night and sympathizes when she has another emotional moment. She wonders if their situation is a punishment, pointing out they're using belongings of those who passed away, like a mug, and living in a place where a child once lived. Ethan expresses his worry about his mom and says he misses Julie. Jim tells him about a community breakfast at the diner, but Tabitha chooses to stay back and unpack a bit more.
I'm going to unpack.
Boyd is busy clearing the area next to the Matthews' new place, which is near a structure known as the box. He's dealing with the grim task of moving Frank's body on a makeshift cart. When Boyd sees Ethan and Jim smiling near the house, he pretends he's just transporting supplies and suggests they head to the diner for breakfast. At the diner, Sarah Myers welcomes them and leads them to a special area, mentioning Jim's brave actions in the woods. Jim expresses his gratitude. Boyd tells Father Katri to bury Frank with his relatives. When Katri asks about Boyd's return for the funeral service, Boyd, with a smirk, questions if Katri will tell his followers that Boyd wanted Frank dead. Boyd then reminds Katri to return the cart before leaving. Meanwhile, Deputy Kenny meets up with Jade in the underground cellar.
What are you doing out here?
I want to show you something.
Jade shows Kenny around and talks about the strange illusions he's been experiencing. Kenny thinks it might be because of the stress from being in such an odd place, but Jade is convinced he's still mentally sound. Kenny then mentions there's something at the police station that Jade needs to see. Tian Chen Lu brings pancakes to Ethan, who eagerly starts eating. Ethan asks if this is their new home, and Jim replies that it's just a temporary arrangement. Ethan, with the imagination of a child, compares their situation to a hero's journey, likening it to a story about Norman's adventure in the Lake of Tears. He feels like Thomas, a character from his stories, is with them and might help them save the kingdom. While Jim is away, Victor shows Ethan a picture, asking if that's the person he saw in the woods. Ethan confirms it. When Jim comes back, he's upset with Victor for talking to Ethan about it. Fatima shares her own experience of adjusting to life at Colony House. She mentions how she managed to get her clothes from Trudy, including an Armani shirt once owned by a fashionable crossdresser named Charlie from Duluth. She explains the benefits of being in charge of laundry.
Come on. Up, up, up. Oh.
Like getting the first choice of clothes. Tabitha gives Julie a sweater, but their conversation takes a turn when Tabitha suggests they made a mistake moving there. This upsets Julie, who storms off. Tabitha talks about the importance of family, but Julie finds it ironic since the trip was supposed to be about discussing their divorce. She reminds Tabitha that they have 2 other kids, not just Thomas, who isn't with them. Fatima then steps in, introducing herself to Tabitha. Meanwhile, Kenny shows Jade a world map with pins marking where each resident came from, like Kenny's family from Austin, Texas, and Christy from Detroit. They start discussing the idea of the town being like an escape room, with Jade suspecting someone is controlling their situation. He's determined to find out who, but Kenny warns that it could drive him crazy. Suddenly, a static noise from the radio catches Jade's attention. Tabitha comes back home to find Jim waiting for her on the porch. He starts talking about a child's crayon drawing of a boy in white. Tabitha changes the subject to Julie's worries about their potential divorce. Jim shares that he had a tough conversation with Victor but reassured him that things will be alright. Their conversation gets a bit tense as Jim tries to convince her that everything will work out fine.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Oh, please stop saying that.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know.
Meanwhile, Ethan is in the kitchen, overhearing their argument. His attention shifts when Victor taps on the window, wanting Ethan to join him in searching for the mysterious boy in white. Ethan hesitates, saying he shouldn't leave the house, but Victor insists they've been chosen for this task and persuades Ethan to swap his crutch for a stick. Outside, Boyd is busy reinforcing a wall when Father Katri comes over with a cart. The priest comments on Boyd's tough attitude, suggesting it's his way of coping with what happened to Frank. Boyd denies it's about Frank, leading Father Katri to talk about the number of burials he's handled and how Boyd's arrival in town changed everything. He notes that Boyd found a talisman and brought some order amidst the chaos, helping people to start living again instead of just surviving. Father Katri acknowledges the sacrifices Boyd has made but reminds him that the town relies on him more than ever. He advises Boyd not to let the death of someone close be in vain. Victor tells Ethan he used to think the boy in white was just in his imagination. He remembers seeing him as a kid when 2 cars drove into town. Ethan, curious, asks Victor how he ended up there. Victor's unfriendly attitude leads Ethan to open up about losing his brother, Thomas.
You've been here a pretty long time, huh?
I've been here the longest.
When they see the boy in white, they decide to follow him silently. Meanwhile, Tabitha goes inside to cool off and is soon joined by an upset Jim. Tabitha, feeling overwhelmed, decides to take Ethan to see Julie. As they leave through the back door, they find Ethan's crutch lying there. Ethan and Victor reach a mysterious tree, the faraway tree, where the boy in white seems to disappear. Victor draws a smiley face on a rock and shows Ethan how the tree works. He drops the rock into the tree, and it falls from the sky behind them, still with the smiley face. Victor explains that the tree can transport people too, but where they end up is unpredictable. Tabitha and Jim, worried, are looking for Ethan in the woods when they hear a German shepherd barking. Victor shoots his gun into the air to scare the dog away. And soon after, Ethan and his parents are reunited. Jim, angry, confronts Victor for not staying away from Ethan. Victor apologizes, assuring them he means no harm to Ethan. As Tabitha tries to calm Jim down, Victor rushes off to the colony house to find a specific sketch. He experiences hallucinations about his youth in a town filled with corpses, the boy in white, and a German shepherd. Jim later talks to Boyd about Victor. Boyd suggests speaking to Donna, who has more influence over the colony home residents. Jim shows Boyd the sketch of the boy in white. Boyd agrees to talk to Donna to ensure this doesn't happen again and invites Jim and his family to dinner. Meanwhile, Fatima and Julie become closer, and Ellis offers her a private sleeping area with curtains for privacy. Boyd hosts a nice dinner for Jim's family, and he mentions he'll talk to Ellis about keeping an eye on Julie. Tabitha thanks him, and he replies that in their community, everyone looks after each other like a big family. Ethan gets invited by Sarah to help serve the food, and when the radio suddenly turns on, Boyd casually mentions that it happens sometimes. Meanwhile, Kenny takes Boyd aside for another job they need to do. During the meal, Jim and Tabitha reminisce about a summer they spent in Texas. Jim admits he sometimes struggles with his feelings, but Tabitha reassures him that they'll figure things out together. Suddenly, Sarah is in pain, holding her arm. It turns out her arm has parasites that communicate with her through mysterious messages. One of these messages shockingly tells her to kill the boy. When she looks at Ethan and then back at her arm, the message is gone. Overwhelmed, she collapses. Boyd and Kenny immediately come to Sarah's aid. In another part of the house, someone is seen digging frantically outside. When Donna asks what he's doing, he initially says he's just trying to get a head start, but then he realizes he has accidentally dug 4 graves.
I was just trying to get a head start this time.
The episode starts with a local informing Nathan that his sister, Sarah Myers, is having trouble at the medical clinic. Sarah doesn't want to stay there overnight. Christy, trying to help, suggests she might tell Nathan that Sarah is resting. But when Boyd Stevens enters through a back door and asks about Sarah, Christy says she's fine without needing an MRI. Boyd wonders if someone could have a physical reaction to their unusual town. Christy hesitates but admits it's possible and even mentions Boyd's trembling hand, offering to arrange a checkup for him. As Nathan gets closer, Christy tells him Sarah doesn't want to see him. Boyd adds that Christy thinks Sarah should stay overnight for monitoring, but it's important not to stress her further. He wonders if there's another reason behind Sarah's distant behavior. Nathan seems to accept this reluctantly. Meanwhile, Jim and Tabitha Matthews are talking about Sarah's situation. Jim tries to comfort their son Ethan, telling him that Sarah is getting care from the same person. To distract Ethan, Jim suggests playing a game and writes "Where are we" on a wall, which surprises Ethan. Later, Nathan finds Sarah's bloodied dress on their dining table. Sarah is rummaging through drawers and stumbles upon medical tools that bring back memories of past events, including a seizure she had. Christy, noticing Sarah's distraction, offers her some tea and they start chatting about personal matters. Sarah curiously asks about Christy's love life, particularly about her complicated relationship with Kenny. Christy opens up, mentioning her connection with Mari, another girl. Sarah reflects on how Nathan helped her escape a toxic relationship and wonders if Christy would consider doing something risky to reunite with Mari. Christy admits she would do almost anything to be with Mari again, as long as it meant others could return home safely. Meanwhile, Jim is deep in thought about the enigmatic questions written on the wall. Tabitha points out that these questions have been asked repeatedly without any new answers. She hints at a crucial question that hasn't been asked yet. Sarah's conversation is cut short when Nathan arrives. He bombards her with questions, but she avoids answering by saying she needs to go to work. In another part of the town, Julie Matthews is making a list of people who might realize her family is missing. Fatima sees this and tells Julie that many others have made similar lists. When Fatima asks who's on Julie's list, she's just about to leave, but Fatima invites her to join in some fun and mentions introducing her to the Brundles.
Boyfriend? No. Girlfriend? No.
Jade's odd behavior persists as he roams around the town. He bumps into Trudy near a gas station, who flirts with him in a peculiar way. She playfully remarks that she would have been very forward with him if he hadn't settled in the town, using a quirky metaphor involving an alabaster dragon. Boyd is looking at a map when Kenny comes by with his favorite snacks. Kenny stays with him as Boyd plans to visit his wife's grave. Meanwhile, Jade finds a bar set up by the locals. He's surprised to see everyone so relaxed. Tom serves him a homemade vodka and they start talking about complex theories like Schrodinger's cat. Tom reveals he used to teach philosophy. Sarah, who's got a hidden scalpel, doesn't seem interested in going to her job. Tabitha, while changing Ethan's bandage, wonders if the town has some sort of healing power. Ethan jokingly suggests they should write down their questions on a wall. Sarah comes by, and Ethan wants to go on a merry-go-round ride. Nathan finds the church empty and Father Katri missing. In a different part of the town, Ellis, Fatima, and Julie decide to go swimming. Julie can't understand how Fatima remains hopeful amidst everything. Fatima shares a bit about her tough childhood and how she saw her father being taken away from their home.
I remember my mother told me to hide.
Jim is deep in thought, looking at a wall filled with questions. Tabitha watches Ethan and Sarah enjoying the merry-go-round, and when Sarah tries to take Ethan somewhere, Tabitha decides to join them. Boyd is at his wife Abby's grave, talking about his health concerns and fears. He wonders if he should try to leave the town, but he's scared of the risks. He wishes for a sign to guide him. Near the parish, Father Katri is outside enjoying the weather. Nathan comes up to him, curious about the rules of confession and whether it would be kept confidential. Father Katri assures him that confessions are always private. At the farm, Sarah shows Ethan and Tabitha the animals, like chickens and goats, and tells them they'll get used to living there. She talks about a secret spot in the barn and wonders about the town before the protective charm. Father Katri scolds Nathan for keeping secrets, mainly to protect Sarah. He agrees to keep it quiet but emphasizes the need to keep everyone safe. Then, Sarah leads Tabitha to a hidden room and locks her in, apologizing for something about to happen. Boyd asks the bartender about interpreting a certain sign. The bartender mentions Sarah taking Tabitha and Ethan to the farm.
Start heading towards the barn with that Matthews lady and her boy.
Ethan gets worried when Sarah comes out of the barn alone and apologizes again. When he tries to run, she grabs him. In a sudden turn, she accidentally cuts Nathan's throat with a scalpel. Ethan manages to escape after kicking her. While she tries to help Nathan, Father Katri shows up. Ethan runs into Ellis, Julie, and Fatima in the woods, where Julie tries to calm her brother. Meanwhile, Jim is rushing to the farm, and Tabitha, trapped, screams for help. The Matthews family eventually gets back together, but Father Katri and Sarah have disappeared. Christy tries to help Nathan, but it's too late. An angry Jim confronts Boyd and Father Katri, criticizing the town and its seemingly perfect image. Back at the Matthews house, Tabitha asks Julie to take Ethan upstairs. She writes a message on the wall, questioning if they survived the crash.
Ask every question, right?
That's right.
Christy feels guilty about Nathan's death, but Boyd reassures her, reminding her of the lives she's saved. Suddenly, a radio turns on, playing Lyle Lovett's song If I Had a Boat, which Boyd takes as a sign from his wife, reinforcing his plan to escape. This episode of From brings back the suspense that might have been missing in previous episodes. The show focuses on a few storylines, some of which are unexpected and really engaging. The episode starts with Sheriff Boyd and his assistant Kenny handling the burial of Nathan. During this somber moment, Father Katri gives a moving talk about faith and life. Meanwhile, Tabitha Matthews hands over some important documents to the priest that belonged to the previous occupants of their house. In a shocking scene, Sarah Myers is found bound and gagged in the church's basement. Boyd and Kenny, while finishing up the grave, talk about Sarah's mysterious vanishing. Hyun Chen Lu is deeply troubled by Sarah's disappearance, as she sees her almost like a daughter. Boyd reflects on the changes happening in the town and, after spending a night in the woods with the Matthews family, suggests they venture deeper into the forest. Kenny, visibly uneasy with Boyd's ideas, leaves abruptly. At the Matthews house, Tabitha asks Jim what's on his mind. Jim shares his thoughts about the house's unusual electrical wiring, which seems to be missing a crucial component. Suddenly, Jade arrives with supplies but his entrance without knocking annoys Jim. Jade makes a sarcastic remark about the town's odd electrical setup. Tabitha can't hide her disdain for Jade, who nearly caused her family harm, but Jade counters by mentioning the loss of his best friend. In a disturbing twist, Sarah overhears Father Katri expressing frustration about the town lacking a Bible. He then removes her gag and talks about the voices she hears, suggesting she use her gift for good, as Nathan would have wanted. In a lighter moment, Fatima praises Julie Matthews for her flower arrangement skills, but Julie reveals she simply found the flowers and put them in a vase. Ethan and Tabitha, while exploring, come across a collection of bizarre items. Ethan compares the place to a cave from a story called Cromonocle, where a dragon lives. Tabitha finds a handmade bracelet, adding to the episode's intrigue. Jim and Jade are in the forest, looking for the biggest tree to help them communicate with the outside world. They talk about their abilities, and Jade confesses he gets dizzy up high.
Huh? Wait, no, what? Hey, what? I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, Christy Boyd is drawn to the spot where Mr. Lou was killed, and she ends up discussing Kenny with Boyd. She thinks Kenny could use a father figure and talks about Boyd's past mistakes with his son, Ellis. To keep the crime scene hidden, she closes the door. Father Katri shares some insights about the Bible with Sarah, explaining that it's a collection of 73 books, not just one. He muses that their town and its stories might be like a 74th book, one that's still being written. Tabitha is distracted by a handmade bracelet when Ethan asks about Jim's return. Their conversation is interrupted by a flickering lamp. Tabitha investigates and ends up making a hole in the wall with a hammer to check the electrical outlet. In the forest, Jim is climbing the large tree, cheered on by Jade, but he starts seeing things. He imagines a symbol carved into the tree and sees visions of corpses and blood. He then runs into a ghostly Civil War soldier and is chased until he snaps back to reality. Jade mysteriously leaves without saying why. Sarah tells Father Katri about voices she heard, and he realizes these voices have been around longer than the townspeople. He thinks the voices are waiting for someone to listen to them. Sarah writes in pain, asking for paper to record the voice's message. At the same time, Jade is drawing his vision. Fionn brings him tea and notices his sketches, which match a symbol in a journal she finds in storage. Sarah writes down something for Father Katri, suggesting the voices know about something he buried when he first came to town. Boyd finds Kenny crafting chess pieces. Boyd shares a bit of his past, mentioning how he almost made it big in baseball during his college days. He then opens up about his Parkinson's disease, something his father also had. Boyd worries about his ability to protect the town, especially as his condition worsens. He hopes everyone is safe at home before his symptoms become more severe.
Are we doing this or what?
Doing it.
Jim is surprised to see several walls in his house stripped down to the framework. Ethan is busy moving dirt from the basement. Tabitha wonders if Ethan and Jade had any success tuning into the radio. Ethan mentions catching a weak signal. Tabitha then notices that the house's electrical wires run under the concrete floor of the basement. She shares a personal memory with Jim, telling him about a handmade bracelet she crafted from his father's bootlaces when they started dating. This bracelet went missing around the time Julie was born, prompting Jim to grab a shovel and start digging. Elsewhere, in the woods, Father Katri is concerned about keeping a bag from his past hidden. He digs a bit and finds the bag, which contains a shirt stained with dried blood. Boyd and Kenny, back in town, play catch with a baseball, and Kenny wishes Boyd luck for an upcoming trip. Kevin has an unusual encounter in the bathroom with an attractive creature holding a flower arrangement. She thanks him for the flowers and curiously asks about an entrance. In the 7th episode, the longtime residents of Colony Home are decorating for Fatima's anniversary party. Ellis Stevens, with a flask in hand, admires the Congratulations Fatima banner in the entrance hall. Meanwhile, Fatima chats with Julie Matthews about the oddity of celebrating the day she arrived. Fatima points out it's more about celebrating survival, and she shows Julie a hidden collection of clothes. Julie comments on Fatima's distinct characteristics, and Fatima responds by saying everyone has their own special qualities. She then sends Ellis to look for Victor, hinting that anniversaries can also remind us of what we've lost. Ellis tries to get Victor to join the early festivities, but Victor's not interested, upset about the lack of peaches in the pantry. However, it turns out there's a secret supply of fruit cocktails and cranberries stashed away in the basement. Elsewhere, Kevin places another bunch of flowers on the porch before getting distracted. Boyd Stevens makes his final round through the town, ringing his warning bell. Tabitha Stevens reads a bedtime story about the Cromonocle to Ethan Stephen, lulling him to sleep before drawing the shades. Kenny Lou reminds Jade about his dinner responsibilities, but Jade, lacking paper, wonders if he should draw on the walls instead. Boyd meets Father Katri at the police station, where his travel gear catches Katri's eye. In another part of town, Jim Matthews is finishing up his radio tower design. He and Tabitha discuss Ethan's bedtime and joke about child labor laws. Tabitha confesses her fear of leaving the kids alone, but Jim reassures her they've taken safety measures. They hope Donna is watching over Julie at the colony house.
Hey.
At the party, Julie and Fatima enjoy a song and dance together. An intoxicated Ellis wanders through the crowd, and Fatima advises him to slow down. Donna delivers a short speech, praising Fatima's wisdom and kindness, and even joking about her talent in growing marijuana. Donna then presents Fatima with a handmade dream catcher as a gift, and Stacy joins in to wish Fatima a happy anniversary. Boyd is talking to Father Katri, trying to figure out a way to avoid a crisis. Father Katri shares a story from his past. He recalls a young boy in his church who loved contributing to the collection. One day, he found the boy upset outside the church. Father Katri lured the boy away with a candy bar. Later, he visited the boy's home and discovered a tragic scene. The boy's mother was distraught, his father was drunk, and the boy was dead with a broken neck. Father Katri confesses that he attacked the father in a rage. Afterwards, he found himself on a bridge, drunk, when he felt a divine voice guiding him to drive, leading him to the path to this town. Boyd is shocked and wants to know why Father Katri is telling him this story now. Father Katri reveals that Sarah Myers is being held in the parish basement. Meanwhile, Kenny encounters Jasmine, who is upset and holding a bouquet. She's sad because Kenny wouldn't let her inside and threatens to never come back. Kenny tries to comfort her, saying it's lonelier outside. He stops her from leaving and convinces her to promise not to let anyone else inside. She agrees, and Kenny uses a crowbar to pry out some nails. Ellis is getting annoyed with Dale, who's busy telling Stacy about his complex theories involving string theories and other universes. Ellis thinks these theories are nonsense. When Dale suggests another round of drinks, Ellis angrily knocks Dale's drink out of his hand. Fatima steps in to calm things down, but Dale escalates the situation, threatening to cause a scene. Donna quickly stops the argument. Ellis feels bad and tells Fatima to go back and enjoy the party. Dale, still upset, insults Ellis, leading Donna to punch him, sending him to the ground. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, Jasmine and Kevin share a moment before Jasmine suddenly turns on him. Elsewhere, Fatima meets Trudy, who is feeling down but doesn't want anyone's pity. Fatima tries to cheer her up by giving her a sweater, and Trudy promises to repay the kindness someday. Julie is impressed by Fatima's gesture and awkwardly asks if she can kiss her. Anticipating rejection, Julie runs away, embarrassed. Father Katri reveals a significant discovery about Sarah's candy bar sketch. He confesses to hiding the bag years ago, long before Sarah's family arrived in town. He suspects that something has been observing him and is now communicating through Sarah. Boyd finds it hard to believe that a mysterious entity would communicate such violent instructions. Father Katri, convinced of a connection, asks to join Boyd and Sarah on their upcoming journey. Tabitha is determined to uncover the truth about the strange happenings, even though she's hurting. Jim sees her discomfort and offers to take over while she rests with Ethan. In the bathroom, Jasmine is trying to clean up after her encounter with Kevin and notices strange creatures approaching from the woods. Victor is looking through his drawings when Julie comes in to ask about the graves he mentioned earlier. Victor doesn't want her in his room and tries to dismiss her, but Julie brings up his earlier mention of 2 vehicles arriving in town simultaneously. Kenny is growing impatient with Jade's fixation on the journal. Jade discovers a hidden photo in the journal, showing a potential author, Tian, with a young Victor in the background. Trudy is saying goodbye to her favorite pillow, giving it to Fatima, when she runs into an overly excited Jasmine. Suddenly, the frightening smiley face creature appears, trapping Trudy. Terrified, Trudy wonders how the creature seems to know everyone in the house. Dale, feeling underappreciated, is distracted by blood droplets and looks up to see the smiley face creature on the upper floor. Panic ensues among the residents, waking Ellis, who had been asleep. The creatures start coming down from the upper level, causing chaos. Fatima tries to reach Ellis but can't get through the commotion. The noise grabs the attention of Victor and Julie. Victor quickly throws a rope out the window, urging Julie to climb down first. She doesn't forget to grab her lunchbox on her way out. Donna is leading others to a van, making sure everyone sticks with their partner. When Fatima gets there, she urges Donna to drive off. After a moment's hesitation, Donna agrees. Julie and Victor make it to the ground, and while planning their next move, Victor notices the boy in white. He suggests the faraway tree is their best route to escape. Ellis, mistaking Trudy for Fatima, turns her over and realizes his error. As the smiley face creature closes in, Ellis throws a TV out the window and jumps out, landing on the porch roof. He then makes his way down and finds Fatima. As the creatures get closer, Fatima helps Ellis stand up and they both rush into the house foyer. There, Fatima places a talisman, hoping it will protect them from the looming danger. Victor, trying to escape through the woods, brings Julie to a mysterious faraway tree and quickly ushers her inside for safety. Meanwhile, Boyd and Father Katri are busy sorting out the last details of their trip. Boyd shares his doubts about Sarah and vows to take action if she poses any threat. At the same time, Donna and some other town residents arrive at the police station. They rush to assist those inside, but they're met with a shocking scene. Father Katri has been gravely injured, his throat cut. Boyd catches him just as he's about to fall and shoots twice at the attacking creature. In the police station, Boyd tries desperately to save Father Katri, pressing on his wound and reciting the Lord's Prayer in a tense, emotional moment. Despite his efforts, Father Katri passes away as the episode reaches its dramatic conclusion. Covered in Father Katri's blood, Sheriff Boyd Stevens is busy packing for a trip. His deputy, Kenny Lou, tells him that some people from Colony House have moved into town. Kenny thinks a heartfelt speech might calm everyone down. Boyd agrees but reminds Kenny to mention Father Katri's help when they first arrive. As Kenny leaves, he's worried about Boyd focusing more on his trip than the town's safety. Boyd reminds Kenny that he'll soon be in charge as sheriff.
He saved my life, you know that? Father Katri, the night we got into town. He risked his own life to make sure that...
Meanwhile, Sarah Myers is nervously waiting for Boyd, who is in a hurry to leave. In a memory, Boyd, his wife Abby, and their young son Ellis are listening to Lyle Lovett's song If I Had a Boat. Boyd daydreams about how peaceful it would be to ride a pony across the ocean. Abby brings him back to reality, pointing out their financial struggles. Boyd tries to reassure her they'll manage, but Ellis doubts their plan will convince lenders. Boyd tells Ellis he doesn't need to worry about it, mentioning that his army friends called him Mr. Fish and loves for his knack for making the best of situations. When Ellis asks about Abby's nickname, Irony Abby, Boyd explains that sometimes being too rigid isn't helpful. He playfully suggests a boat might solve their money problems. Abby, looking for chapstick in her purse, hands Boyd something. It's a boat key. Boyd is so surprised by this that he almost doesn't notice a fallen tree on the road, but Ellis's quick warning saves them from a crash. In the present, Sarah is in the forest with Boyd, questioning Father Katri's whereabouts. Boyd, sidestepping her question, talks about how the creatures in the forest used to scream all night until they found talismans, which quieted them down to whispers. He comments, somewhat bitterly, that these voices haven't been much help. Sarah insists on knowing where Father Katri is, and Boyd finally tells her that he has died. Sarah is devastated, and Boyd confronts her about her past actions, questioning her morality. He points his gun at her, urging her to keep moving. Meanwhile, Jade is looking over his recent discovery. Kenny is busy giving a tour of the house to 3 residents, emphasizing the need to conserve their limited food supply. Jade, after a cryptic conversation, hints at a deeper understanding of the situation, comparing their predicament to an escape room and questioning the choices they've made. Julie shares with her family, Jim, Tabitha, and Ethan, the strange events she experienced at the Colony House. Tabitha tries to comfort her, but Julie is confused and scared, talking about being transported from a tree to a cellar. Ethan excitedly mentions a story about the faraway tree and suggests they look for Victor. Tabitha reassures Julie, while Ethan talks about a mysterious hole in the basement that they need to investigate. Suddenly, Jade barges into the house unannounced. Jim wants him to leave but not before Jade shares his findings from the journal and his hallucinations. When he shows a photo, Jim, frustrated and protective of his family, knocks the photo away and sternly tells Jade to stay away from them. Jim belittles someone by reminding them of a past breakdown involving a Civil War soldier. He's been working on a radio signal and thinks that with enough height and power, he might get better results. When Jade questions how they plan to get above the tree line, Jim mentions his hope to reach higher ground.
All I got was some static. But it worked.
In a flashback, Boyd, young Ellis, and Abby find themselves in a strange town with help scrawled on the buildings. As night falls, Father Katri suddenly appears in front of their vehicle, urgently explaining the town's dangers and the lethal creatures that roam it. He insists they must follow him to survive. Abby, skeptical, points her gun at him, but Katri urges them to move quickly despite her distrust. Boyd decides to follow Katri, especially after hearing terrifying shrieks nearby. They head to a place where Donna and Dale are already safe. Donna reassures them that the only real threats are the creatures outside. Father Katri promises to give more details, but then they're all distracted by strange sounds from above. Fatima observes Christy fixing Ellis's shoulder and putting it in a makeshift sling. Christy asks Fatima to ensure Ellis stays in bed to recover. Jim and Jade discuss their plans with Donna, talking about strengthening their radio signal. Jim believes that broadcasting from the Colony House, the highest point around, will help them get the signal over the thick forest. Donna, surprisingly, agrees to their plan. Jim is shocked by her approval, but Donna explains that after a recent disastrous event that left many of her people hurt, the house is hardly being used and could be helpful for their purpose. In another scene, Boyd takes Sarah to a small shack, telling her he has things to do in town. Despite his intention to handcuff her, Sarah assures him that it's not necessary, as she only wants to assist. Boyd is shocked when he first sees the aftermath of an attack on the town. He finds people wandering in confusion, trying to recognize family members who didn't survive. Abby's voice snaps him out of his daze. He's surprised to learn that the townspeople have to hide every night and just hope for the best. Father Katri tells him this is their only way to survive. Both he and Donna admit they don't know much about the town's mysteries. Boyd thinks they should try to get everyone to work together. Donna is skeptical, saying it's not that simple, but Boyd suggests they pool their resources and make sure no one hides in the same place twice. They start working on this new strategy.
Abby is going to be drawing up a system for where we spend the nights.
Elsewhere, Tabitha checks if Julie is hungry, but Julie is more curious about her parents' divorce. Tabitha struggles to give a straightforward answer. Julie wonders if she's the reason for their problems, but Tabitha quickly reassures her that it has nothing to do with her. She explains that it's hard to understand until you're a parent yourself. Tabitha then shares a painful memory about Thomas, their child who passed away. She recounts how Thomas fell off the changing table while she was grabbing a diaper and Jim was answering the phone. Now, whenever she looks at Jim, she's haunted by the memory of the ringing phone, feeling like she failed as a parent. At the local diner, Tian Chen Lu is trying to keep Tom and Eli from entering. Boyd steps in and finds out that Tom and Eli are worried about people from Colony House taking all the town's limited supplies. Boyd calms them down, assuring that no one will be raiding supplies. Eli is skeptical, pointing out that the creatures once got into the Colony House despite precautions. Boyd manages to persuade them to back down, while Tian observes that they're just frightened. In a flashback, Boyd shares more about himself with Father Katri. He talks about using the daytime, when the creatures are inactive, to scout for resources. Father Katri is concerned about convincing others to venture out. Boyd mentions his 30 years in the army, contrasting with his wife Abby, who he describes as the real badass of the family due to her Marine background. Meanwhile, Abby is using her time to observe and learn more about the town. Her quiet observation is interrupted by Ellis, who is sent to help his dad. Boyd and Kenny are discussing a recent troubling incident at the Colony House. Donna joins them, and Kenny brings up Boyd's earlier comments about him being ready to lead in Boyd's absence. Kenny is skeptical about the effectiveness of their talismans and fears they might end up trapped like Father Katri if they don't find a way out. Donna inquires about Boyd's travel plans.
And if we're not gonna fight like hell to go home, then we might as well swallow a fucking bullet right now.
Another flashback shows Boyd leading the town's first animal, a goat, and meeting Father Katri. He talks about setting traps and suggests getting help to reinforce the corral around an old barn. Young Ellis expresses his concern about Boyd going into the woods, but Boyd admits he's also scared. However, he emphasizes the necessity of gathering resources. Ellis is worried about Abby, but Boyd reassures him, mentioning Abby's nickname Iron Abby, and agrees to talk more about it later. In a spooky forest scene, Boyd comes across a wandering German shepherd. He tries to get the dog to come to him, but it runs away. Boyd chases after the dog but ends up lost in the dark, scary woods. He hears eerie sounds and keeps his gun ready, just in case. He stumbles upon a cave and inside, he encounters a strange creature that just walks past him. Boyd thinks his good fortune is due to an old charm on the cave wall, covered in mysterious symbols that look like ancient writing. He finds more of these charms around the cave. Back in the present, Boyd shares his travel plans with Ellis. Ellis criticizes these plans as just wandering around without purpose, reminding Boyd of how badly it went last time. Boyd responds that Ellis can dislike him all he wants, but he's going to speak his mind. He warns Ellis that he might not come back from this trip and doesn't want to leave things unsaid. He confesses that he's proud of how Ellis has turned out. Donna later reassures Boyd that Ellis will eventually understand. She thanks Boyd for everything he's done for their community. Fatima talks to Ellis, trying to comfort him. She tells him that whatever happened isn't his fault and mentions that she knows Boyd well enough to understand his intentions. Fatima believes that while Ellis is angry, it's Boyd who's been carrying the heavy load all this time. In a flashback, Boyd survived a night in the woods with the talismans. When he returned to town, people were in a panic. Abby was in a strange state, surrounded by lifeless bodies. Donna was trying to help an injured person. Abby tried to convince herself it was just a bad dream, but Boyd tried to reason with her. She broke into song, singing Lyle Lovett's If I Had a Boat, and told Boyd to snap out of it. Ellis got her attention, but Boyd shot her twice. Not far from a shack, Boyd noticed that Ellis had followed him from town. Ellis explained that the talisman had saved him and Fatima during a dangerous encounter. Boyd embraced him as he cried. Ellis couldn't let Boyd leave without saying goodbye, but Boyd assured him it wasn't goodbye. Sarah emerged from the shack, and Boyd promised to tell Ellis everything when he returned. For now, he needed Ellis to trust him, and Ellis headed back to town.
Right now, I just need you to trust me, okay? Okay, no one can know she's with me.
Kenny explained his plan to the residents, suggesting that if Boyd could risk his life, they could cooperate. He wanted to merge the Colony House and town factions into one community. Donna reassured them that the Colony House would be rebuilt and informed them about Jim's radio tower. Jim emphasized that the sooner they erected it, the sooner they might go home. The residents brought supplies and tools to the Colony House, and Boyd handcuffed Sarah. Boyd Stevens and a restrained Sarah Myers carefully moved through a large, enigmatic forest. Sarah keeps asking where they're going, which irritates Boyd because he feels like she's doubting his direction. They reach the place where Boyd found some important objects, and he suggests setting up camp there. He confesses he's never gone deeper into the forest and doesn't want to risk it, especially since it's almost night. Deputy Kenny Lu shares with Tian Chen Lu his plan to split the locals into 3 teams. One will build a radio tower, and the others will handle the radio and power. He mentions Jade working solo and expresses worry about Jade's fixation on a certain symbol. He also says Jim Matthews has threatened Jade's life, and Victor is nowhere to be found. Tian Chen describes Victor as lazy and selfish, just as Christy arrives to return a book they were sharing. Donna appreciates the colony home team for their effort and notices Eric looking upset. He jokes it's due to his genes, but she suggests a good sleep might fix it. Dale makes a sarcastic remark about leaving after the radio tower miraculously connects them to Neverland. Donna emphasizes the importance of positive morale. Before leaving, she updates the nights without incident tally. Meanwhile, Tabitha Matthews is busy moving dirt from her basement. Jim offers her food from the kitchen, and she responds she'll be there soon. As she climbs up, she daydreams about being in town, but then she finds Jim's body hanging in an alarming way. She's scared by Jim's loud noises until she realizes she's in her bed and Jim and Ethan Matthews are peacefully asleep. Donna, remembering Eric's tower jokes, is shocked to find his body hanging. Kenny updates Jim about their current work. Jade is busy cooking. Jim, looking satisfied, tells Kenny they need more wood to build a tower tall enough to rise above the thick forest. Kenny thinks they should ask others to help get wood from the barn. Donna grumbles about having a tough morning and mentions that Eric can't help out today.
How you doing?
Had a rough morning.
Ellis Stevens offers to help Fatima, who is relieved to take a break from her task. They talk about Eric and the tower they're building. Fatima is worried it might not work. Ellis shares a story about Boyd, who felt like he came back from a different world after serving in Afghanistan. He reflects on how hard it is to tell if people or situations change more. Fatima wonders how things will be different when they return home. Sarah and Boyd are making their way through the forest. Boyd marks their path with arrows on trees. They discuss a theory, but Boyd admits he's not sure about it and vows to learn more. Sarah is hesitant to talk about why she almost hurt two people, Ethan and Bin Qian Lu, but eventually reveals she was threatened by voices in her head. They claimed they would harm Nathan Myers and warned of danger involving two vehicles. Boyd reassures her, suggesting that the town has a way of driving good people to do bad things. In Ethan and Julie's house, they're looking at Victor's drawings on the table. Ethan thinks these drawings tell a story about their next adventure. Tabitha worries it's too much for a young boy. Julie quickly talks about Jim's tower instead. Ethan keeps arranging the drawings. Tabitha suggests a game where they talk about what they'll do when they get home. She wants to order a lot from Giovelli's, and Julie plans to call her friend. Ethan hopes they'll still be happy when they're back. Jim and Jade are worried about the town's battery problem. The good ones might die soon. Jim thinks using cars could help keep them charged. Jade wonders about a special symbol, but Jim wants him to focus on the tower and not on irrelevant things. Jade mentions the town isn't like Gilligan's Island. Donna's trying to relax, but Kenny interrupts her. She likes that Boyd doesn't bother her and asks Kenny if he'll be nosy if he becomes sheriff. He says he's there to support her. He mentions collecting wood from the barn. Donna gets an axe from the basement. Jim and Kenny try to calm her down when she gets worked up chopping wood. She stops when she realizes she's drawing attention and assures them she's not crazy. She just thinks the axe is better for wood than a rotten barn. In the forest, Sarah talks about Boyd's wife. She thinks both Boyd and Nathan like helping people, but Nathan was tougher. Sarah feels Nathan wouldn't have liked their current actions, worrying that being too pushy could cause problems. Suddenly, they hear a sound like wind chimes. They find a tree with bottles hanging from it. When Sarah is overwhelmed with pain, she uses a stick to knock down a bottle and then falls to the ground, seeming to have a seizure.
Ow! Sarah. No! Hey.
Tom questions Donna about a tower. Ignoring his query, she comments on it being her first time at the bar and criticizes his brewing skills. She's there for some quiet. When Kenny mentions Eric's death, she speaks highly of how Eric chose his own path. They touch on the tower topic. Donna reminds Tom that not everyone wins in real life, unlike in school. She thinks Tom doesn't understand life before Boyd and a talisman, saying the town was better off before everyone got obsessed with a man they call Mr. Wizard. She worries about the future if their plans fail. Tom wonders if doing nothing as dangers lurk is better. Donna points out that at least those dangers are honest about what they are. She's sad about losing the sense of togetherness at the colony house but promises to be ready to act again soon. Ellis tells Jim about Donna's angry words. After some small talk, Jim mentions he needs to return to work. Ellis updates him on the progress with some technical parts, but Jim feels not much was achieved today, which he says is normal in engineering. Kenny meets Christy looking sad outside the police station. She shares that her bond with Eric got stronger recently, but his celiac disease has caused a lot of hospital trips due to swelling and dehydration. Christy mentions Eric wouldn't stop eating carbs. Eric helped her get used to living in the town. She's worried about the big tower causing problems if it doesn't work. Kenny assures her he won't make any sudden moves. They share a brief hug and then split up. Tian and Jade are finishing up making dinner, and Tian confesses he struggles to understand people. He feels stressed when people expect him to have answers to impossible questions. He admits he finds his own intelligence overwhelming. Jade is tired of hearing him complain. She playfully asks if the power outage is bothering him as she switches the light on and off. She comforts him, saying the power issue is too big for just one person to fix. Julie has a serious talk with Jim about the tower project. She acknowledges that things aren't going smoothly. Jim is skeptical about her newfound hope and thinks it might be related to Ethan's remark that their move to the town was destined. Julie urges him to stop working on the tower and focus on fixing the hole instead. They grab a bucket and hurry to the basement when the hallway light starts to flicker.
If you climb up high enough, even a nightmare can look like a dream.
It's now completely dark in the forest, and Sarah and Boyd settle down for the night in their rough camp. Sarah wonders where they are, mentioning Boyd's worry about her possibly not waking up. Boyd tells her he found 1864 written on a piece of paper inside a bottle, and it seems each bottle has a similar note. Sarah recalls a voice from earlier, during an attack, telling her they need to return and to inform Mr. Fish and Loves that she made a mistake. Suddenly, something starts attacking their tent. Elsewhere, Ethan chats with Jim while pulling up a bucket of dirt using a makeshift pulley. Surrounded by scarecrows, spiders, and imaginary monsters, Ethan thinks they're on some kind of adventure, especially when Tabitha's shovel hits something hard. Back in the forest, after a tense moment, Boyd realizes the talisman has fallen off. He quickly finds and reattaches it to the rope in the middle of the tent. Sarah expresses regret about coming to this place. Then, something inside the tent starts glowing and fading, similar to a lighthouse light. In the last episode of the first season, we see Ethan Matthews playing with finger puppets. Julie Matthews offers to tell him a story, but he's confident he can make up his own. When Jade comes in with a hairdryer, Ethan starts talking about Jim Matthews' least favorite lamp and how he thinks he's figured out their energy issues. He takes apart a lamp, pointing out that the sockets aren't working and the wires don't have copper in them, yet there's still some electricity. Ethan shows this by tinkering with the lamp, suggesting they can still light up the bulbs. He notes that someone brought the hairdryer to town, so it must have copper in it. Ethan connects the hairdryer to the lamp, and it lights up, proving his point. Jim starts thinking they could turn the colony house into a big battery. Meanwhile, Boyd Stephen is looking at a boat key, while Sarah is observing an earthworm. She wonders if the animals realize they're stuck in this strange, nightmarish place. Boyd mentions that cutting a worm in half doesn't kill it, but makes two separate worms. Sarah is curious about what moved their tent. When Boyd steps outside, he sees the forest is covered in a substance that looks like spider webs. Jade emphasizes how crucial copper wires are. He explains that if they can gather enough wire to connect the lamps to the tower on the colony house roof, they might be able to activate the antenna. Jim points out the need to use the electrical wires from various appliances and gadgets in the town. He's hopeful they can send a signal out before it gets dark. As Jade gets ready to leave on his bike, Julie reminds him that her dad's name isn't Mr. Teacup but Jim. Jade acknowledges he knows the real name, but their argument is cut short when Jim tells Julie to go back to the diner. Jade mockingly praises her for confronting her dad, and she insists he drop the Teacup nickname. He agrees, but only if he can call Julie Sparkplug. Meanwhile, Donna is engrossed in studying the map of new arrivals when Kenny Lou tells her about Jade's plan. She wonders about the chances of people arriving in town from various places and questions if a radio signal can change anything. Kenny explains how radio waves move differently than people, and they chat briefly before parting ways. Christy is collecting electrical parts when Kenny comes by. He shares a story about his old lamp from college, which doesn't work but has sentimental value, including a secret compartment. He shows her a receipt inside it, listing places he wants to visit when he gets back home. Christy mentions her dream of visiting Iceland, and Kenny suggests they go together. She admits she likes him but has someone waiting for her back home. Understanding, Kenny takes some wiring to the colony house. Tom, a bartender, leads Tabitha Matthews to a shed to look for some electrical parts. She's curious why he's not at the colony home with everyone else. Tom wonders if she's interested in why he doesn't care about the magical tower. He tells her that he's used to smart people and their failed escape plans, which always end up at his bar. Meanwhile, Fatima is busy with electrical wires and ignoring Ellis. Eventually, Ellis gets her to join him in the greenhouse for a private chat. He reminds her of their first meeting there. She reminisces about driving her Volkswagen Bug, then questions what they're doing. He confesses that he can't remember his life before meeting her and that she's his true love. She kneels and declares her love for him too. Since all jewelry stores are closed, he jokingly offers her a fancy wire from his pocket, and they both laugh about its origin. Boyd and Sarah are navigating a forest filled with spider webs. She's unsure about where they're heading, but Boyd suggests following a light. He doesn't recall what Sarah told him the previous night and proposes heading towards a searchlight that seems important. Sarah fears something dangerous might be near the light and questions who Mr. Fish and Loves is. Boyd reveals it's a nickname from his military days and wonders if his wife, Abby, has contacted her. They then hear someone crying for help and find a clearing with a large, web-covered tree. Abby is at the base, wrapped in a cocoon. Boyd is startled when Abby suddenly grabs him. As he tries to free her, spiders swarm out of a hive. Sarah asks what he's found, but he doesn't answer. Meanwhile, Jim, Ethan, and Julie are distributing supplies to volunteers. Ethan wonders how they'll get the supplies to the rooftop, and Jim explains the basic hoisting method. Ethan ponders what Sarah would think of this, and Julie goes inside to help. Ethan thinks it would be great if Victor were there, and Jim reassures him that Victor is fine wherever he is. Ethan is surprised but admits he knows Victor is okay because he needs to finish his part of their quest. Sarah asks Boyd to look at her spider bites. When he finally does, he says the forest is deceptive, causing loss and pain. Boyd, offering to take her pain, suddenly collapses in agony. He fears the voice might be right, that they might not survive in the woods. Sarah encourages him, reminding him of their goal to reach the light and mentioning Ellis. This motivates Boyd to keep going. Meanwhile, at the tower project, Jade steps out to get more wiring. Jim tells him they just got the last shipment. Jade jokingly blames his need for rolling paper, but Jim is unsure and doesn't say anything. Tian Chen Lu is at her temporary shrine when Jade interrupts her. He takes something, hinting they might be able to go home soon. He shares his past, living with his grandma in France until she passed when he was 12, then moving to the US with his uncle. He recalls a life-changing moment when a woman bought him a soda. Hyun suggests the dead always follow you. Jade comforts her, saying her husband will return home with her. She leads him to the altar and asks him to pray with her.
You pray with me.
Back at the project, Jim shows how to adjust the electrical frequency with a screwdriver. Donna tells everyone the volunteers are ready. While Jim gives instructions, Jade and Tian arrive with snacks. Jim asks Jade to help on the roof before taking an apple. Jade playfully warns that anyone messing up will spend a night in the box, but Donna reassures everyone he's just kidding. Christy gives Kenny back his college lamp. He thanks her and says sorry for making things awkward. She confesses she's stuck choosing between an amazing guy and an old flame. He wonders what she'll do next. Holding his hands, she admits she's unsure. Meanwhile, Jim's finishing a ham radio, and Jade's up on the tower. Tabitha tells Jim she's excited to see it work. Jade interrupts their moment, signaling everything's good from the roof. The next task is getting power. The locals light lamps, and then they power up the radio. When it works, they all cheer. Jade thinks they should start broadcasting right away. Tabitha gives Jim a kiss before she goes back to the basement. Clara spots dark storm clouds coming. Boyd and Sarah are climbing a mountain as a storm looms. He stops to rest, but she urges him to keep moving. They hear an air horn more often as they spot a lighthouse. Back with Jim, he's teaching Ethan to switch radio frequencies. He's making distress calls when Donna says the storm's 10 minutes away. Jim wants to keep working. Donna worries about everyone's safety. She's concerned the tower might fall in the storm. Jim knows it's risky but wants to continue. The storm gets worse, and everyone runs inside. Donna thinks they should stop working, but then a voice comes through the radio. Jim is stunned and asks who it is. The voice knows him and warns that Tabitha shouldn't be digging in the basement. Jim heads towards town, leaving Julie confused. Donna's at a loss for words. Light bulbs burst and electrical systems fail. Tabitha, working fast, breaks through the concrete ground and finds herself looking into a massive hole. She's shocked and takes a moment to get her bearings. In the pit, she comes across a disconnected electrical wire. Suddenly, Victor shows up, claiming the mysterious boy in white led him there to meet her. He was doubtful at first, but now he believes it worked. Victor warns her that a monster might wake up any minute. Their flashlight reveals strange writings and symbols on the walls. Meanwhile, Jim doesn't make it down to the basement in time. Tabitha! Up above, Sarah is trying to get Boyd to move. He insists she should leave him behind or they'll both be in danger. Then, the boy in white shows up, communicating with Sarah without speaking. Following his silent instructions, Sarah realizes something alarming about the town. She helps Boyd into a mystical tree, the faraway tree, promising she'll be right behind him. She gives him a flip lighter just before the tree whisks him away to the bottom of a dry well. Using Sarah's lighter, Boyd looks around, getting scared when he can't hear Sarah's responses. In a twist, the local diner, now deserted, suddenly echoes with Neil Young's song Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere from the radio. At that moment, a bus full of passengers pulls into the parking lot, and the episode ends. Sheriff Boyd rings a bell at the start of the show to let the villagers know that night is coming. When he feels his right hand shaking, it sends chills down his spine. He wakes up from a dream but can't get out of the well that is empty. As soon as the bus gets into town, Elgin starts to move. As Tom walks out of the bar, the bus is drawing his attention. The driver, Bekta, is being begged by Elgin to stop while he watches. Randall grabs Bekta from behind, making him throw up, and he has to stop the bus. To keep the radio gear safe, Jade and the others bring it inside out of the rain. He is moving the tools when the bus comes up and grabs his attention. Donna tells the people in the area to stay cool during an electrical surge caused by the rain. Julie Matthews calls Donna to ask where her father Jim is when she realizes he is nowhere to be found, but Donna doesn't say anything. As she leaves, Donna tells Ellis to take her back to the colony house. Jade tells her about the bus that goes to work. Jim Matthews checks out the damage in the basement, while Victor and Tabitha look for a way out of the tube below. His search for her will never end, even if she is dead. As they make their way through the town's maze of tunnels, Tabitha starts to wonder where they're going. Victor says that the boy in white showed him how to get around the tube system after he found a suitcase. When they open it, they see a thin white fabric inside. Christy takes care of Clara's glasses. What Donna and Kenny, the new sheriff, are talking about is how the strangers showed up out of the blue. Donna tells Matthias, please get the shotguns. Kenny tries to talk her out of getting guns because he wants to be nicer and doesn't think they will be needed. Donna tells him that he is now in charge. Even though it's pouring down rain, Randall leads the charge to help people inside the diner. In the rain, an old tourist spins and twirls but can't get anyone else to join him. Mari, a pediatric nurse, checks on Elgin while Brick watches. Botka goes to get some cleaning supplies so that he can clean up the waste. Nobody pays attention to Elgin's apologies. While Ellis and Tom talk about the newcomers, Julie looks for Jim. Then, Tom introduces himself. Julie discovers her mother is gone when she finds Jim. He urges her to find Ethan as a diversion before he finally asks her to seek assistance. It dawns on him that he won't be able to dig the enormous hole by himself. Julie tells everyone what a horrible state her parents' basement is in as Ellis and Tom attempt to reassure the newcomers. A rescue mission is launched by Tom and Randall. The others are escorted by Victor into the subterranean passageway. He tells Tabitha to keep quiet whenever she attempts to inquire. With each step they take, the risk increases. Up above, Boyd cries out for assistance. A male voice, whose identity is a mystery, interrupts his attempts to contact Sarah, and then someone drops a rope down the well. In an effort to deter additional rescue efforts, Clara questions Jade as to whether or not a strong external force was involved in the electrical surge. His last joint is going to be enjoyed to the maximum, despite his admission that he has no idea. Her departure catches him off guard, and he starts hallucinating until a terrifying puppet catches his eye. The puppet waits a few seconds before releasing a terrifying scream. Screaming is his sole reaction. Elizabeth Moy is given a dustpan and Brooke by Ethan to help with the cleanup. He inquires as to her best estimate of when the others will return before he leaves. He can count on her to lend him a hand and reassure him when he's scared. Elizabeth then goes on a tirade in her shaky English about reassuring him and shielding him from harm. Before going outside with Jade, he reassures her that he isn't scared. Jade brings up the botched rescue attempt after some back and forth over the risks of smokes. He is reassured by Ethan that he will attempt it again. Locating Victor's room is Jade's first worry. While taking a break, Victor notices that Jade's hallucinations feature the same puppet. He quickly abandons his flashlight and runs away, overcome with fear. After Tabitha consoles him, they resume their descent into the tunnel system. In Victor's room, Jade is trying to find the answers to some unspoken questions. He finds Ethan's intrusion annoying, and Ethan lets him know. Before apologizing for her candor, Jade implies that Victor has already passed away. Everyone is involved in the nightmare, according to Ethan's theory. Ethan questions Jade's fascination with Victor once he discovers what he's seeking. The source of the notebook and Jade's recent hallucinations are both detailed by the author. In Ethan's view, the emblem serves as a signal. Realizing it's up to him to decide if it's good or evil makes Jade very unhappy. As the strangers find themselves in an unusual situation, Donna takes the time to explain it to them in the diner parking lot. She hurries through her explanation as darkness approaches. While Mari keeps an eye on Elgin, he has recovered enough to get off the bus, and Botka's uncertainty is showing. Just as Jim is about to reach the bottom of the pit, the whole thing will crumble. The newcomers standing outside the restaurant see the building fall. Quickly, Julie goes to see if Jim is okay, and she finds that he is. Randall is helped out of the rubble by Christy and Kenny. A little rock sculpture forces Tabitha and Victor to halt. The statue topples over as a ball rolls in from the distant corner. Several monsters who were sleeping nearby are startled awake by the noise. Now that their route is entirely obstructed, she notices a water track. In a room with a little pond, they find the water trail. Injuries to Randall and Elgin are promptly checked. As Mari and Christy search the bus for a first aid kit, they come to the realization that they have a history. Back in their own country, they dated. As Boyd continues to have hallucinations of Ellis, his kid, he gradually climbs out of the well. Astonished, he retreats a few feet into the well. When he has collected himself, he begins to climb toward the door. Everyone from locals to visitors is pitching in to help Jim, Tom, and Brick get out of the rubble. The rescue effort is really weakening the structure, Jim finds out. He updates the others on his discoveries. He thinks you should be more careful. Julie, who is distraught, tells him that sunset is coming up fast. The rescue will have to wait till later, they determine. Getting everyone back on the bus is Bacta's top priority. On her way to get her shotgun, Donna accidentally shoots the front passenger tire. Fatima quickly gathers the visitors back together after they go in separate directions. To ensure her safety, Ellis follows behind. To subdue the crowd, Kenny fires a shot into the sky. To escape the well, Boyd uses his climbing skills. He notices a weak man bound to the wall. In a rush, he points his revolver at the elderly man who advised him to take his life. To observe a weak man bound to the wall. The episode closes with him pointing his gun at the elderly man who advises him to murder him. In the second episode, Boyd and the person who saved him meet in person at the top of the well. As Boyd draws his gun, he wants to know who the prisoner is and why he is chained up. A man named Martin comes up and talks. Although Boyd is taking off the man's bonds, he notices his unique marine tattoo. Donna and Kenny have invited most of the new people to the diner. It looks like chaos everywhere you look. It's very important for her to stay inside the restaurant at all costs. They try to talk to Bacta about getting free. Donna assures her that nothing bad will happen. The only newbie who doesn't believe her is Randall A.J. Simmons. No one is ready for Donna to bring up the down tree. Still shocked about how close they came to dying, Victor and Tabitha Matthews are making their way to town. Victor suggests a close cargo van that he often stays in as a place to stay. Since there isn't an amulet, he stresses how important it is to stay quiet. After an unexpected meeting, Christy and Mari are looking for a quiet place to work out their differences. They were once in a relationship. Mari is upset and confused as she tries to make sense of the last 6 months of pain. Christy was only 2 hours away in a town full of crazy people. Rubble says Brick might still be outside in the cold. Along with Quiet, Jim Matthews and Tom talk about what's going on. In a way that sounds like he might have a broken rib, Jim asks him if he has ever made it through a night like this before. Tom doesn't know if his yes will make a difference. Brick yells and flails because he is upset about his position after breaking through. When they try to comfort him, it doesn't work until he looks at Tom. Boyd breaks Martin's chain with a rock. According to Martin, it wouldn't help him get away very much. Before he meets everyone in town, Boyd tells him he will take him to town if he has to. Martin tells her that he found the charm, even if it doesn't make her feel better. They believe that something important is about to happen when the music box starts to play. When Boyd looks more closely at the mirror and ballerina music box, the image of an old man staring back at him scares him. Julie Matthews is getting more and more anxious as she looks for her father, who is stuck under the rubble. Kelly is worried that the place is becoming more well known. Donna stands there with her shotgun pointed at Randall as he gets into a fight with a group of strangers. Brian and a woman are hiding in the town's homemade bar as they run away from the shotgun mess. When they find some illegal alcohol, it makes them feel better. Elgin and some other newbies hide behind an old car. Ellis and Fatima try to get them to a safe place. When they see the western cowboy creature and its female counterpart walking toward them, they run into a post office to hide. He blocks their way in with a sheet while she tries to get Elgin's attention. As they walk, something that looks like a nurse watches Fatima's breakdown. Brick feels the danger for the first time when he hears loud screams. He starts to freak out again when he realizes it's coming from the monsters. Tom looks him in the eye to calm him down. Brick has blood in his cough. Randy tries to leave through the door, but Kenny stops him. He doesn't understand why they aren't helping the people who are being killed by the monsters. Donna says that having a gun won't help much. When Randall takes Kenny's gun, he holds him hostage. Kenny and Donna try to talk him out of going outside. For Kenny, she makes it clear that her life will be in danger if they have to keep him inside the diner. Randall's gun is taken away by Kenny, which calms things down. Boyd is able to get Martin's right arm free. He then asks, "Do you ever wonder if Abby was right?" When he moves his left arm. Boyd asks Martin how he knew about a talk he had with his wife in the past. Martin bends over in pain. Boyd is aware that parasites are moving under the skin on his left arm. As Martin stabs Boyd in the arm with the chain, the music box stops playing. Martin tells Boyd that they will share the same blood when they die before he breaks his arm free. As he grabs a flashlight to find the door, the scene changes right in front of his eyes. He walks up to a wall and then falls to the ground. Kenny is making tea when he sees Mari, who looks like she is upset. He gives her a cup of tea. Christy comes up to her with tears in her eyes after she leaves. He tells her to comfort Mari because she will need it in the days to come. Brian and a girl are hiding when they hear screams. She thinks it might be coyotes. He makes animal sounds and reminds her of growing up on a farm. As he looks out the window, he can tell that she is scared and tries to reassure her by telling her that they will have a great story to tell their friends and family. Someone knocks on the door, which scares them. She tells him not to open the door, but the visitor's story, which is similar to theirs, makes him want to save the day. The grimy monster starts to stalk the parking lot outside the restaurant when he sees the bus. A noise comes from behind Smiley as he looks around the bus. Both of them are scared as they look at the monster. Smiley is telling you not to pick the wrong shelter. Even though the attack isn't shown, the town is filled with the sound of people screaming and shrieking in pain. Boyd sees a dog off in the distance. As he runs through the trees, the boy in white and other animals meet him. He turns off his flashlight out of the blue and hides behind some trees and thick bushes. Victor is focused on his search for food while Tabitha questions him for the first time about the boy in white. Even though it's been a while since they last saw each other, he says they're friends. When he comes back, she starts to wonder how long the boy has been in town. In a polite way, he refuses to talk about it any further. She wants to know more about his collection of things. He said that part of it belonged to his mom. When the painful memory comes back to him, he looks for other snacks to help him calm down. Boyd and Elgin decide to join the others as three monsters get closer. Everyone else had already gone, but Elgin tells him that the bus has arrived. Since Brick's inner injuries have shown up in his body, he is having a hard time hiding how painful he is. Tom and Jim do everything they can to make him feel better. Jim tells him that the pancakes will be the best he's ever had. Jim takes his last breath as the pain gets worse and worse. Something wild is after Tom. The screams of pain can be heard throughout the town as the movie ends, even though the attack is not shown. Julie's first goal is to escape when she realizes that the monsters are going toward Jim. Christy shows up just in time to stop her from going. Donna steps in just as Julie starts to cry and falls to the floor. Boyd takes care of his wound as best he can. Victor draws the puppet from where he is in the tunnel, while Tabitha writes down her feelings in her journal. Elgin is sound asleep on a nearby cot. Boyd talks about how healthy they are. For the time being, says Victor. Boyd asks him about his sketch. Victor says that he likes to draw the horrible things he sees and then stick them on the wall. When Julie wakes up, she goes straight outside. Katie finds Tom dead in the yard. Julie calls Jim while they are cleaning up the area. His answer leads to an effort to save lives. Bakta finds a massacre that Smiley left behind. Tabitha, Victor, Elgin, and Boyd are looking forward to the new day. The luggage doors are open and the sun is shining on them. When they get back to town, Boyd finds out that he has the same bug that Martin did. At the police station, Boyd is back in familiar ground as he looks at his quickly aging picture and freshly cut arm. In the lobby, he meets his son Ellis to talk about his newest project. Boyd doesn't answer Ellis's question about Sarah Myers. They both think that the faraway tree can take them somewhere else. Ellis says that he is hiding the truth from her. Boyd wants to know what makes him so angry. Ellis tells him that Fatima had a breakdown, which makes him think she is going crazy. Boyd suggests that he become a special part of her that the horrible things going on around them can't take away. Ellis talks about the plan he and Kenny have to check out the traps in town. Boyd tries to talk him out of the plan, but Ellis seems set on gathering wildflowers for his fiancée, who loves plants. Boyd tells him to get something more real instead of the wire ring he just gave Fatima. Julia, Ethan, Tabitha, and Jim's cut are being stitched up by Christy. Christy tells him how to clean his wound and then says something about how good a patient he is. She tells Jim that his broken ribs and possibly bruised lungs are very bad when he tries to get up. When Mari comes up, Ethan tells her about Tabitha and Victor's recent trip. Donna has offered them a room at the colony house, but Tabitha doesn't want to take it. Jim says that the thought of Tabitha dying scares him. Then she tells Jim that she's going to take the kids to a diner and makes a note of the hanging wires. Newcomers are getting off the bus with their stuff, and Randall and Donna are still butting heads. She doesn't like his gun very much. Boyd steps in and introduces himself to the new people. Donna says it was just a small argument over Randall's gun, downplaying what he just saw. He tells Randall about the rule that says people living in the area can't have guns. Randy wants to know who made the rule. After telling him what his job is as sheriff, Boyd tells him he has to give up the gun if he wants to stay in town. Donna tells Matthias to take the other people to the colony house. Tabitha tries to get Julie to take a bowl of food with her. Ethan wants to see Victor but is afraid that Victor will be mad at him. She says we should give him some time to rest. Vic is mad at him, so she asks him why. He talks about his and Jade's. He asks about getting his things from the house as she goes to talk to Elizabeth Moy. Tabitha asks Elizabeth to check the storage to see if there is anything that she and her family can use. She and her family are welcome to stay at Elizabeth's house. Don tells Boyd that Mari, Christy's fiancée, is the first person from their past to come back to town. He asks what they have on hand. She says that half of their stock was lost by the storm. They are worried about how to feed the 25 extra people who just moved into town. Ellis is collecting wildflowers while Kenny sets up and reloads the town's traps. It looks like the output is good. Kenny says he is worried about Mari's sudden appearance. They are having a heated argument when music starts to play. They follow the sound to the body of a girl who had just been to the bar and missed their lost horse. He suggests that when she starts to move again, they take her back to town to be buried properly. Clara goes up to Victor, who is angry at her. He is upset that something was taken from his room. Clara finds out where the trouble is coming from. After a few seconds, he is knocking on Elizabeth's door. Jade puts down his violin to answer the door. Victor grabs his violin to show that he doesn't like what's going on. Jade says he found a picture of Victor when he was young and it has an emblem on it. Victor tells him to stay out of his room and not touch his stuff again, but he won't give him a reason. Mari looks at the small painted rock that she gave Christy before she left. Since she's been there, Christy says the rock has helped her get through some tough times. Mari seems shocked by what she heard. Christy tells her that her hair looks blonde. When Kenny bursts through the door, Mari turns away from her. The girl says her name is Kelly. She says that the creatures were pushed into the woods when Brian let them into the bar. The creatures tied her to a tree and then killed Brian while she watched. Kenny and Christy look at her cuts. As Jim lies in bed to get better, the blinking exit sign in the hallway quickly grabs his attention. As they look for the criminal, a woman walks up. She inquires about Brick, whom she recognized from the bus. He wants to know where she's going. She says she likes to gamble and goes to different racetracks to bet on different events. He asks her what's in her bag and if the bus company hired it. After telling him about the charter, she tells him that his second question hurts her feelings. He has to call for help because his broken ribs hurt so badly when he tries to ask more questions. When Mari walks into the room, she says her name is Marielle. Mari goes off to find Jim some aspirin. The girl talks about how the bus broke down in a town where her boyfriend was supposed to be staying. Jim is shocked by what he hears. The house of the colony Elgin is told by Fatima that she will be their guide. He asks about a body of water instead of responding to her comment about the first anniversary. She introduces him to the Brundles, which is one of the few things they do for fun. He says that he dreamed about the place on the bus ride. She says that other people had dreams about the Brundles before they came to town. He wants to know if the event has ever been studied. As she said before, it made some of them crazy. Now she says the results are always the same. They are trapped and don't know how to get out. In the woods, Christy, Ellis, and Kenny talk about Kelly's strange situation. While Kenny works on a plan to get her back into town before it gets dark, Ellis asks her why she seems so normal. Kelly doesn't seem to be in pain, but Christy is worried that taking out the rod will hurt her and kill her. Kenny says you should give her a gun so she can choose how to die. She tells the girl the truth about her health. Julie and Tabitha look through the used clothes that are for sale. Tabitha says it's just like any other used goods store, while Julie calls it creepy. Upon leaving with their used items, she hallucinates about two girls holding hands. Julie asks what just happened, but Tabitha refuses to reveal her hallucination. At Elizabeth's house, they sort through the used clothes. Julie continues to probe for answers, but Tabitha refuses to talk. She complains about being treated like a child before explaining her own horrific experience last night. Tabitha admits to having periodic hallucinations since Thomas died without warning. She claims Thomas provided reassurance from the other side, unlike her previous hallucination. Despite learning of her impending doom, Kelly is in good spirits and wants to contact her mother for what might be the last time. After saying there are no working phones, Christy offers to deliver her mother a note. Kelly writes a note apologizing for not reconciling after their argument over Brian. Her mother wasn't keen on her dating Brian. As the shock sets in, Kelly screams in pain when Boyd approaches. He ends her suffering by removing the rod. Christy's tough exterior is shattered when she returns to awaiting Mari. She pleads with Mari to not leave her. Ellis tells Fatima that it would be a good idea to get married sooner. Reluctantly, she agrees. Kelly is putting a puzzle together when Tabitha joins him. With the puzzle complete, she recognizes the location. In a flashback, she is in the tunnel when a rock statue crashes to the ground. The noise wakes the monsters. Back to the present, she hallucinates about the girls before rushing him inside the house. Donna accidentally knocks over a potted plant when Boyd approaches. Assessing the damage, she questions his appearance. He tells her that his experience with the creatures, while trapped in the well, reminds him of a similar experience in Iraq. He was driving when an IED exploded, killing his entire unit except for him. He says Corporal Brian Smucker Kelly's death was more difficult than the others. The young soldier died in his arms. Kenny searches through Father Katri's things for a written scripture for his funeral. Noises coming from the cellar grab his attention. Armed, He slowly approaches the cellar to find Sarah Myers. Christy shows Bing Qian Lu and Tian Chen Lu around the hospital. Bing Qian is not interested in the sunny shared area. Kenny wants to help the man get used to work by offering to play chess with him in the common room. Bing Qian was surprised when Tian and Kenny moved in with someone else, but he finally got over it. Tian stresses how important it is to keep an eye on him all the time and says that he might be able to go home if he gets better. With the hope of things getting better, he gives in the end. Boyd Stevens stops Kenny on his way to get his dad's things because he wants to know what happened last night. Kenny says his dad almost let the monsters in because he thought they were his brothers. Before he asks him to be his deputy, Boyd tells him that the army taught him how important it is to have someone he can count on. In the present, Kenny quickly tells Boyd that Sarah has come back. Julie Matthews offered Tabitha tea when they went to the Liu home. Tabitha asks Jennifer to keep an eye on Ethan Matthews before she leaves to talk to Jim Matthews. It's clear that Jade doesn't like their sudden and unwanted stay. It's 3 smelly hippies, he says. She asks Ethan to go with her so she can see Victor. Kenny and Boyd go with Sarah to the church, where she is bound. Before freeing Sarah from her chains, Boyd asks Kenny to give him and Sarah some alone time. She tells him about the time she ran into the white boy. When she hears Nathan's theory that they are bothering the town, she tells him she agrees. He is curious about how other people will respond when she comes back out of the blue. She got used to her fate a long time ago. Both he and Kenny talk about how important her ties to the town are. Kenny is really annoyed about this because Father Katri already knew and he is just now finding out. The fact that she was in the woods with him makes things even scarier. Because she helped kill his father, she haunts him and he can't get over her crimes. The idea of putting her in the box is not liked by Boyd. Seeing the bugs moving around in Boyd's arm makes him pass out. Kenny quickly checks him out. Julie sees Elgin on the porch as she attempts to calm Ethan's excitement. She quickly points out that their visit will be brief as he dashes inside. On Fatima's engagement, she offers her congratulations. Ellis wants to move the date forward, Fatima tells her. Specifically, she wants her to be a bridesmaid. Julie wholeheartedly concurs. Elgin is not adjusting well, according to Fatima. To lend him a hand, Julie offers. A knock at the door interrupts Victor's new portrait. Despite his ongoing anger about the previous invasion, he agrees to Ethan's visit. Ethan quickly expresses his regret. Victor is adamant that he was inadequate. Victor is absorbed in his sketch, as Ethan searches for clues about his mother's experience. Victor goes on to explain that having Tabitha as a mother would be wonderful after first complimenting her on how nice she is. Before quickly dismissing Ethan, he unveils his latest project. After Ethan expresses his desire to return home, Julie offers to listen to Elgin's concerns. Before making her way into town, she manages to catch up with him. Christy informs Boyd that she is sick of his continual denial after a quick evaluation. He is reminded of his extensive medical training by her. He wants to know if a spider bit you. What really gets her eye is the big cut on his arm. Maintaining a clean environment is something she emphasizes. He says he was injured by a falling branch. He remains silent when she inquires about his tremors. His declining mental faculties are a source of some anxiety for him. She reassures him that it is premature to be anxious and then asks him to be calm. Kenny is urged to take a seat and eat by Tian. She thinks he works too much and for too long. The food is for Boyd, he says, reminding her. Regarding the sheriff's work habits, she also notes the same thing. She wants to know what happened to Christy as he gets ready to go. Having confessed his knowledge of the engagement, he tells her she has every reason to be joyful. He notices the newcomer's accomplishment in emptying the bus as he leaves. The appearance of Bacta surprises Jade. Even she isn't really thrilled about his coming. After coming to the realization that things will not improve between them, he walks over to a vacant table. As I inhale a fifth of poor man's potato vodka, I sneeze and exhale heated air. Reminding him of his terrified cries, she then feels responsible for the passenger's terrible fate because she did not listen. He inquires about the downed tree. See the tree, and your life is over. Before they even landed there, he implies, their lives were taking a bad turn. Although she is not legally allowed to do so, she drove the bus nonetheless in order to treat herself. For his whole life, Jade worked to build and sell his software company for millions of dollars. He knows what it's like to be stuck here. Mari is looking in the medicine cabinet when Tabitha walks in. Mari says she knows what it looks like before she says why she is robbing it. Tabitha is shocked to learn that Jim left the hospital earlier than she thought. Tian comes over to help unload the bus with the new people. Jim quickly pulls Tabitha to the side for an important conversation before she can scold him any further. Their recently collapsed house sets a spooky mood for the talk that follows. When he looks at the house, he remembers the night he was stuck in the rubble. He does say that he spends a lot of time guessing about the wires and when Christie's ex-boyfriend will show up. He believes what she says about what she saw, but he's not sure she wasn't tricked. He suggests that he share his tech knowledge with her. As a roller coaster creator, it was his job to make impossible things look like they were possible. The more unlikely something is, the more significant it is. In the end, this makes him wonder if this town could have been purposely built to see how the people who live there would respond. When he tells her about the voice on the radio, it blows her mind even more. He's not sure what to think when she asks if anyone else heard the voice. Boyd is shocked to see a familiar face when he comes out of the bathroom. He quickly thinks that what he saw and heard was some kind of hallucination, which is proven when Father Katri matches his sarcastic tone. He tells him that it's his move and that he doesn't have many other choices. They talk about what Sarah did that led to Mr. Lou's death. Boyd tells her she didn't kill him. Katri thinks it was her fault that she left the door open for the animal friends. Boyd tells him that Kenny will get it. Katri says that leaders have to make tough choices before asking him if he is qualified to be a waiter. It gets worse when he says that Boyd thinks Kenny looks like a father. Jim wants Donna to say again that they heard a voice. Before she tells him what's clear, she forces him into a hidden room. He tries to get her to believe that the voice and its threats mean that someone can see them. She doesn't say she doesn't agree with or disagree with his idea, but she does say it might be bad since they haven't helped them before. She says that the monsters are very sneaky. He isn't sure if not telling the others is a good idea. A fight over words gets her attention. Randall is really rough on a Colony House graduate. Even though the argument is over, things are getting worse between them. Kenny tells Sarah that she saved Boyd's life while she eats and then asks her about the sounds. He doesn't understand what would make her want to kill her brother. Boyd's complete trust in the girl makes him want to accept what she says even more. He says she's a good friend and that his mom treats her like a daughter. He asks her why she didn't go back to the box. She says she has done some awful things. Fatima tells Donna that Randall will change his mind, but Donna won't believe her. She says that talking in public should be slowed down. Donna walks straight toward Randall, who is lying on the couch like a king with an axe in her hand. Before swinging the axe at the wall, she tells him to get out. Before they go to town, he gets his things. Then she asks Baker why she moved the bus from the parking lot of the diner. Baker thinks that people in the diner should have to see it while they eat. He doesn't believe that the attack the night before happened at his new house. Before she leaves, she shows him how to use the charm. The rain dancer introduces herself as Tilly as Boyd makes his way back to the church. Curious about his past exploits, she inquires. She tells him that Kenny is approaching the hospital building just as he tries to ignore her. After a while of somberly staring at the scene of Mr. Lou's murder, Sarah's involvement in his killing becomes apparent. Kenny describes the effect their secret has had on his mother. He patiently waits for her to be alone in her chamber, insisting he has never witnessed her weep. He thinks she feels responsible for his father's demise. His decision to dump Boyd in the deputy role is final. He is relentless in his pursuit of Sarah's boxing debut, disregarding Boyd's qualms. Randall is having a hard time getting used to his new home because monsters are following him around. At the door, he is met by a scary old grandmother figure. As his fear turns into anger, he makes fun of the monsters for being scary. As the critters run away, he yells bad words at them. In particular, the people that work as nurses and mechanics are very mean when they say goodbye. At the makeshift bar, Jade fights with his fears to feel in charge. While he looks at the new photo more closely, his images are becoming more and more real. Now it's not just the teasing symbols, the person who made the book is also shown in graphic detail. Boyd Stevens wakes up when he hears a lot of restless knocks. Sarah comes out of the basement just as he is about to open the door. After yelling at her, he tells her again how important it is to stay hidden. Tabitha Matthews and Jim Matthews, who are angry, push their way through the open door to find Sarah. Boyd says that they don't have enough details. It is said that they told Kenny Lou about her special skills before bringing up the fact that she also kills people. He tells them she will be good. She admits that she is only worried about the attempt she made on Ethan Matthews' life. It's the plan to ignore everything, Jim thinks. In terms of the radio mast, Boyd says that Jim changed everything. He says that people in the area come to him with questions. There's only one way for Sarah to get out of the box if she can figure out these problems. Tabitha tells Sarah that she will be killed if she goes near her family. Boyd says she'll be good, so she does. Just before they leave, she says that they no longer believe what he says. The Colony House is where Boyd meets Donna. He tells Sarah to stay inside and not come out while he is with Donna. Sarah is honest about the fact that she is strong enough to handle the difficulties that lie ahead. Before he leaves, he pretty much tells her she has no choice. When Ethan Matthews hears that Sarah is coming home, he locks himself in his bedroom. Julie Matthews, her parents come back, and she is having trouble getting him to come out. That they will keep him safe is what they promise. A character in Chromonocle who is afraid of a certain cave had to talk to Jim to get over her fears. Ethan asks to go see Sarah. Mari and Christy really enjoy Tian's bread chips. A shirt that says Gerhardt Trucking is a gift from Mari to her. Christy is shocked and doesn't know how she kept it together. Mari agrees that it was selfish because her scent was on it. Christy says that the town and everything that happened there changed her. She tells her that she might not be the same girl she used to be. Mari tells her they will work things out before they kiss. Sarah sees Nathan Meyer's shirt on the back of the kitchen chair at the house she used to live in. Reggie loves the way the shirt smells when we get close. Completely stressed out. Paula tells her that neither her house nor her clothes will be given back. Sarah says she was just picking up some things for her and Nathan, like a Christmas gift. Reggie says they took most of their stuff with them when they went to the diner. He says that living with them was too creepy for him. Victor storms in without knocking. Jade tries to explain why he is so interested in the symbol. Victor offers to help Jade, but there are some conditions that she has to follow. Victor tells the man in the picture that he will tell everyone what he knows about him if the man can play the violin well enough. Victor then goes and comes back with the violin. Jade agrees, but she is surprised. When Jim and Tabitha talk about Ethan's meeting with Sarah, they give their different points of view. She did say that she was shocked that he would even think about it. He means that Ethan could deal with his problems with its help. He said that after Thomas died, the doctor told Ethan how important it was for him to take charge. Ethan hears what they are saying. She will let Ethan see Sarah as long as she is there. Jim doesn't like the idea of Ethan stepping in to help his dad. He reminds her of what she said earlier about having to face the dangers of this place. While on a task, the only way to take away an enemy's skills is to fight them directly. She tells the father to stay close as she gives the child to him. Girlfriend Donna says that Boyd made the rules. Based on what he thinks, Sarah should be in the box. Boyd says Father Katri thought she was special. She says that even though Father Katri has died, the people who live there are still stuck there. Not likely. Donia says the people in the area still believe in Sarah even though he hasn't shown them a yellow brick road yet. Sarah says she doesn't think it's about her special skills but about his ability to support his wife, Abby Stevens, in the past. He tells Donna that he feels bad that he didn't do more for Abby and asks for her help. She thinks about whether he wants her praise. She says his biggest mistake was going back home without any answers, just a psychopath responsible for 4 deaths. Sarah sees Kenny leave the diner as Ethan and Jim get closer. It doesn't matter that she died in the woods, Ethan says everything. He easily admits that her fake friendship made him feel let down and sad. He makes it sound like she is a monster because the way she survives is a lot like monsters. He says not to be afraid of her. She does agree. Victor takes Jade to the dump he made in town out of old cars that people no longer wanted. He agrees that the spot was clear because there were other cars there. He says he's sorry for what he did yesterday before saying that he doesn't like it when people touch his things. He gives him the violin and then asks if he knows the Twinkling Star song, which is also called Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. He says that his mom sang him the song when he was scared. He brings up the fact that his mom owned the station car. Elgin says he's sorry for getting involved in Sarah's private life. She tells him that she is sure they will fit. He asks, "Where are you staying?" She says that for now at least. He said that there is a priest living there. He hears from her that Father Katri has died. He tells her that his grandmother was a very religious Christian. He was on his way to see his grandmother when they got to town. After Sunday morning church, they would go outside to the porch and make owls. She gets him excited about the ceramic Christmas gifts she and Nathan got at the dollar store. Even after days of breathing, his were always better than hers. According to her, all of them disappeared except for one that Nathan kept hidden. The person who is said to have it is firm about not giving it back to her. Before he asks why she wasn't at the colony house, he offers to help her get it back. She thinks it's good to forgive. What he says is wishful thinking. Do you need to ask her to forgive you? So he asks. She tells everyone that she killed Nathan. He gets up and walks away shocked when she tells him it was great to meet him. Tabitha and Julie go outside to meet Ethan and Jim as soon as they get back. Ethan says, "I am no longer afraid." Because Tabitha hugged him, Julie slapped his hand and bumped his fist as a treat. Julie asks for his help while she is in the kitchen. Jim tells Ethan how brave he is when he is talking to Tabitha. She is really interested in the rock puzzle, but this time it doesn't make her believe crazy things. Hyun Chen Lu informs Sarah that she took from her after everything she done for her. She accuses Sarah of filling her with hate. After handing her the box filled with her and Nathan's possessions, she instructs her to never come back to the diner. Upon leaving, Sarah sees an irate Kenny. He berates her before knocking the package out of her hands. He picks up a porcelain snowman ornament and smashes it against a wall. He threatens to drag her to the box if she returns to the diner, regardless of what Boyd says. Elgin helps gather her possessions. Mari is putting the final touches on Christie's new hairstyle. Christie inspects her new haircut before giving Mari a kiss. Tilly, Deborah Grover, offers Christie a bottle of liquid morphine. Christie worries what she was doing with the drug. Tilly predicts her illness will develop until she can no longer self-administer the medication. Christie promises her that she will take care of it. Tilly reports there is a lot of chitter-chatter surrounding Sarah's homecoming. Upset, Christie goes away but Mari gets her to talk about it. She admits to being unhappy with Sarah for murdering Nathan with a stolen scalpel. Mari attempts to console her but she feels responsible. Victor tells Jade that the guy who authored the notebook is Christopher, whose car is at the junkyard. He claims Christopher could put a grin on your face at the worst moments but suddenly all changed. Jade admits to being afraid by his escalating hallucinations before proposing the notebook may contain the answers. He claims Christopher was definitely fascinated with him. Victor escapes to the station wagon where he tells how Christopher grew captivated with the emblem. It finally led to the death of majority of the town's population. Christopher no longer cared about making people laugh. One night his mother told him to locate a new hiding location. The next morning, everyone was dead. Tabitha takes the rock puzzle back to where she and Victor fled the town's underground maze. Fully constructed, she declares her arrival. Several hideous youngsters gradually marched at her while yelling "Ang Kui." With each stride, the chanting gets more fast. They pull her to the round when she finds it is a vivid delusion. When Jade approaches, he points out her bloodied nose. Randall keeps working on the bus to make it more comfortable. Jim informs Boyd that he doesn't agree with his decision about Sarah but understands. He argues she is just a damaged girl, not a killer, before expressing his hypothesis about the voice on the radio. He believes the government, dating back to World War II, tested with comparable limitations. Boyd exits without delivering an answer. Boyd gets another parasite infection. The parasites are swimming inside the skin of his right forearm. Christie appreciates her present as Mari pulls a syringe full of liquid morphine from the hospital medical cabinet. She ingests the liquid. The episode winds off with Tian finding Boyd, who says he needs to talk to her. In episode 6, Boyd Stevens tries to explain his actions to Sarah Myers. He tells Tian Chen Lu that he can't understand why she took things from her and Kenny Lu. He tells her that he understands how hard it is to lose a loved one in that place. He promises to do everything he can to get them back to where they live. Kenny says what he doesn't like. Tian tells him off in Cantonese, which is their mother tongue. Before leaving, Boyd admits that he is responsible for his actions. Boyd is shocked to find that the chairs are no longer there. During his conversation with Martin, he got the music box, which plays its tune from a nearby table. They dance with an expert dancer until all of a sudden, worms come out of her mouth. When he hits the ground, he realizes that he is still inside the diner. He quickly gets help from Kenny and Tian, who help him sit down and take care of the cut on his head. She suggests that Christie judge him. Boyd gets ready to leave, but Kenny holds Boyd's arm tightly and leads him out of the building. Donna and Ellis Stevens write down how little food the town has. The already bad situation gets even worse right away when Dale brings along too many potatoes. He thinks Donna will go get some and bring it back to him. Fatima ignores Ellis's offer to help and grabs a basket to carry it to the car. Dale wants to know how they are doing. Donna reassures them that they will be safe as long as they continue to use less before telling them that she has decided to stay at Lou's house tonight. She tells Fatima and Ellis that they are in charge of keeping the colony house safe. That's why Fatima doesn't know what to say when the others ask if there is food available. Donna says that they will be better off if they don't know much about the situation. Christie looks through Mari's suitcase for an ornament while she admires her new outfit. Instead, she finds a welcome box from the Lavender Palm Rehabilitation and Treatment Center. Mari doesn't understand why she would mess with her things. Christie remembers that she said she was going to see her aunt when she threw away the package on the table. Mari says that she didn't tell her because she didn't want to make her feel bad. It's clear to Christie that the setback is related to her quick departure. Mari admits that the behavior started a few months ago before she admits that she started abusing drugs again. Christie gets the bottles out of the cabinet with medical supplies. Mari implores her to stop, saying that the present moment is a good time to stop. Christie asks her if she has taken any morphine from their stock. Mari says the word little bit before going for a walk. Christie tells her that it's almost time for bed. Kenny takes Boyd with him to the place where he met Martin. Seeing the leaves changing, he does something. Kenny says he is more stable now that they are back in town. Boyd says he can feel pain even when it's not there, even though he is in it. In response, Kenny asks him to explain. Boyd admits that he is having trouble understanding, but he knows it is because of a parasite infection. Worms move under his skin when the music box starts to play. Without being able to understand the music, Kenny goes with him to a cave in the ground, which is where Jade had her first dream. As soon as Boyd gets to the music box, a dancer smoothly comes out of its room. As he comes back to the real world, he realizes that Kenny did not see anything. Ellis shows up while Fatima sets up the makeshift alarm system next to the back door. He wants to know how they are doing. Kenny waits calmly while Christy speaks with Boyd. By taking off his shirt, he shows off the scar on his arm. He talks about how he met Martin and how Martin gave him something. He said that Martin would have died without the bugs, so he gave them to Martin on purpose. He asks her if she can imagine going through a condition that is so bad that it makes her think about dying, but she can't do anything about it because it hurts so much. According to him, she needs to promise to end it when it gets too much. Kenny and Christy are talking, but they aren't sure about Boyd's health. Bing Chien Lu, Kenny's father, had dementia and said some strange things, according to Kenny. She says it's too early to say for sure, but in its later stages, Parkinson's disease can cause dementia. Donna explains to Ethan Matthews what home canning and long-term food stores are. The chat has Julie Matthews in it. Jim Matthews wants to know if these are the last rules. In her message, Donna tells him that the recent planting of crops went well. He wants to know why the others aren't talking to each other. She warns him that it would make him feel even more terrified than he already is. He doesn't agree with her choice to hide the truth. It's her promise to him that it's the best she can do. Tabitha Matthews cuts him off as he starts to talk about his plot theory. Ethan wants to know what the comment about the town's lack of food is supposed to mean. Boyd is in a lot of pain as the music box starts to play and the dancer's outline can be seen through the curtain. He notices that there is nothing strange or unexpected as he pulls back the curtain. When the dancer grabs him from behind, she pushes him hard onto the bed and starts to choke him. When Mari arrives, he quickly calms down again, but not before quickly getting his gun. Ellis keeps reminding Fatima that things are not at all what she says they are every time she says that. He tells Boyd secret information as he closes the door. From what she said, they will soon be married. She warns that when Sarah comes back, everyone is in danger. He tries to understand Boyd's choice until he agrees with her. Elgin and Dale get into a fight over words while they are making dinner. Dale says that he ate food that was in the cupboard. Elgin tells them that he is adding food from his pack to their supplies. Fatima and Ellis step in when Dale suddenly says that the storm has ruined all of their food. He warns that things will get worse if the refugees keep stockpiling. Ellis says Dale often states things about the food supply that aren't true. Before making a snarky comment about how useful the magic tower is for helping them get back, Dale tries to explain his point of view. According to Dale, the newcomers should be kicked out of town starting with Elgin. While getting into a small fight, Ellis gets stabbed in the side by accident with a knife. Before Dale can say sorry, Fatima tells him to leave the room right away. To get him to the couch, Clara, Fatima, and Bake to help him up. Clara gets some clothes while putting pressure on his wound. Boyd's dreams have now taken the form of Father Katri, who says that spots can't be removed. Boyd seems to be saying that everyone will end up the same way he and Bing Chien did. He knows that he is going to die soon. Father Katri talks about how proud he is of himself and admits that he would have refused to ask for help in the past. He warns her that everyone thinks he is crazy. Boyd asks him what's on his mind. Father Katri knows that he is talking to a thought project of his own. Boyd says that Kenny's help makes him call him the worst priest he has ever met. He tells him to get out of the way. Kenny shuts the door to the upstairs to get away from the other people in the group. Boyd admits that the things that happened in the woods made him feel very scared. Although Ellis needs a ride to the hospital, Donna has a truck. He thinks of the stopped car when Fatima speaks to him. Before trying to comfort her, he warns her that the situation is too dangerous and promises that he will be safe until dawn. As soon as they get to the door, they are told that there is a creature close. Elgin opens the car door and takes it off. The librarian asks the person where they are going, and an older being joins her. As he quickly gets into the car, he sees that the keys are on top of the sun visor. With the help of a more grown-up being, Elgin easily gets to the van and jumps inside. He only has trouble when he can't find the keys. They are found hidden under the sun visor with a sense of urgency and a lot of trouble. He lowers it and the keys fall to the floor. He quickly picks them up just in time and starts the van. When they get to the door, Fatima is helping Ellis get to the van. They drive to the hospital with everyone inside the car. Mari tells Christy that she is going to stay at the colony house when she hears Fatima's frantic beating. When Ellis is moved to a bed, he complains of pain because he is having trouble breathing. While Christy is trying to relieve the pressure on Ellis' chest area, Kenny and Boyd walk up to her. Because she keeps saving Ellis from harm, she worries about Mari's health. Boyd and Fatima go away while Christy, Kenny, and Mari take care of Ellis. Ellis' breathing goes back to normal when the pressure is taken off. Boyd calms down Fatima while Christy gives them the most up-to-date information on Ellis' health. In case he doesn't get a blood transfer, she warns him that his organs will stop working. They both have blood type O negative. Boyd is worried about the blood transfer, and Fatima goes to see Ellis. He talks about his worry that Ellis will get the bug. Fatima tells him that he will die if he doesn't get his blood. In answer to Boyd's next attack, Kenny points his gun at him. Mari and Christy both admit that they saw the bug. Kenny suggests that he give him the bug. Boyd gets the animal's attention by holding a pocket knife out and offering them fresh blood. The first one to be drawn in is the smiley-faced creature, which appears from the nearby bush with a creepy smile on its face. Right now, the cowboy monster and a female monster are very close to each other. Boyd cuts his palm with a knife before cutting the smiley creature's throat. He says the well-known line "his blood is the same as the creature's blood" over and over again. The smiley-faced creature talks about how much he enjoys this game when he is very upset. With a piercing scream, his face turned into a dried-out mess. Boyd gives Ellis his permission to give blood when he gets to the hospital. Donna and Ethan are done putting the food in cans to keep it fresh. Both of them agree that it wasn't too bad. While looking up, he wonders what might happen if the house falls down. Her promise to him is that it won't happen until his parents dig another big hole in the floor, which she knows they probably won't do. Even though he admits his fear, he keeps saying that he is not afraid. She tells him that she feels the same amount of fear as he does and then suggests that fear might be good. They give each other a loving hug. Christy takes out the tube and puts a wrap on Boyd's arm when the transfer is over. He ignores her advice and leaves. Ellis says that he can breathe better now. As she works to improve her looks, he asks her about Fatima's anger toward him. Fatima gives him a kiss before leaving the room, and that's when her feelings get the best of her and she starts to cry. After that, she asks Christy if she can get a pregnancy test. As Kenny walks up to the front door of the hospital, Boyd looks out into the darkness of the night. He feels terrible about ignoring Boyd's advice and doesn't wait to let everyone know how unhappy he is. Boyd is quick to forget, stressing that their success is the only thing that matters. The two people are both focused on the dry mound in the middle of the hospital parking lot. When asked, Boyd says that the object has stayed still and that the truth about whether it is dead or not will be found in due time. Then Christy confirms Fatima's thoughts that she is pregnant. She tells her everything will be okay after asking Ellis Stephen if he knew about the pregnancy. Kenny Lou tells them that the son is coming up soon. Before Christy can ask her more questions, Fatima runs away. Boyd, Stevens, Kenny, and Mari are amazed by the smiley face creature that doesn't move. As everyone comes around, Christy talks about how important it is that the thing died. Is there something that should be done with the creature's body? Kenny suggests setting it on fire, and then Christy and Boyd add their thoughts. He tells them that opening the thing up could be dangerous. Mari goes to get a sheet, and Christy gathers twigs to use as a couch. Ellis, who is hurt, reluctantly agrees to go back to the colony house when his father tells him to. Christy is told by Fatima that she is going with Ellis. Boyd talks to Elgin about how he's feeling. As they bring the thing inside, Kenny keeps warning them. At Colony House, Donna and a sad Dale talk before things get more serious. He agrees with Ellis that there isn't enough food for everyone who just came. She says not to try to get other people to make tough choices. She locks the door, gives the guard the key, and tells everyone not to come or go. Bekta wants to know what Donna is going to do about Dale. When Matthias tells her that Ellis and Fatima are back, Donna tells her that she knows what's going on. Before she leaves, she gives Bekta some support to make sure Ellis is okay. Ethan Matthews won't give up, so Tian Chen Lai and Tabitha Matthews have to deal with him. Right away, he moves the subject to Victor. When Julie Matthews offers to take Jim to see Victor, Jim says it's not a good idea. Jim tells them not to go near the colony house. Tabitha tells them to see Victor. Out of hearing, Jim tells them how important it is to stick together. She tells him about how she took Ethan to see Sarah Myers and then asks him if his plan is to lock them in the basement. She tells them that if they don't listen, they might sneak out of the house. He says he doesn't want his 9-year-old to be around a crazy person who doesn't understand emotions. She says he kept her and Julie alive. Jim and Tabitha talk about his plot idea. She goes inside with Julie and Ethan to eat breakfast. As he tries to calm down, He sees a UAV flying above and Randall standing on the Grand Rapids runner's roof with a command. The smiley face creature is about to be opened by Boyd, Christy, Kenny, and Mari. Christy thinks that a saw is what is needed to cut through the chest. Boyd asks Tian if he has anything that can be used for the process. Kenny tells them the harsh truth about what they are going through. Mari goes to the next room to throw up while they talk about the bug. Mari is going through detox, Christy tells them. Boyd offers to help, so she tells him to get a saw and gloves. Kenny offers to do the job. Randall quickly tells Jim he's sorry for the flyby. Jim is quick to tell him how good he is at flying. Randall says that his nephew gave him the expensive drone as a gift. He helped when their house fell down, and Jim thanks him for it. Randall thinks that he and Tabitha killed the 2 people who died when the building fell down. Jim asks him if throwing it at him makes him feel good. Randall tells him to shut up before recognizing his hard work. Before asking if he can walk with him, Jim asks what the drone can do. Randall says that his actions are like a pedophile trying to get a kid to come with them to the park without them knowing. Jim says that the drone could help them get back home. Victor is back to measuring the line of trees when Ethan comes up behind him. Ethan wants to know how big it is. Victor asks him why he's there and then tries to get rid of him. He says he is only protecting Ethan when he knows Ethan is hurt. Ethan asks them why they're friends if they can't act like friends. Vic pulls out the almost dry pen as he walks away. He finally says that he can help get the numbers. Before she goes back to the smiley face creature, Christy gives Mari a blanket and a glass of water. Boyd is putting bandages on his cut hand when she offers to help. They talk briefly about Mari's drug use. Both of them say they are scared about what they are going to do to the smiley face creature. Jade is engaged in work when Tabitha knocks on the door. Having confirmed that there is no requirement for knocking, he proudly brags about his ability to convert the town's low-quality liquid waste into something valuable. She inquires about his lack of astonishment upon encountering them in the forest a few days prior. He acknowledges preferring her when she refrains from shouting at him. She implores him to be earnest. According to him, Jim discovered him in a comparable condition. Notwithstanding his unwillingness to disclose to Jim, he elucidates his encounter with the Civil War veteran. He consents to divulge further information if she offers her aid. Jim and Randall are present at the location where the RV accident occurred. Slowly progressing on the primary thoroughfare, Randall appears utterly perplexed by the lack of initiative to address the voice Jim encountered on the radio. His awareness of Jim's conspiracy theory notion becomes evident when he inquires about the behavioral responses of individuals when confronted with their respective circumstances. Jim highlights the fact that confidential tests have been officially disclosed. He ponders the nature of the confidential experiments. Randall elucidates his intention to enhance the drone by equipping it with a compact, umbrella-shaped device, enabling it to traverse over the canopies of trees. Jim assures to attend to the radio. Nonetheless, Randall harbors skepticism. Randall acknowledges that the idea is becoming comprehensible, but he points out that there is one crucial aspect that has to be addressed before providing more explanation. Julie bids farewell to Fatima and Ellis, as Donna presents them with a platter of food. Ellis brings to mind the food storage. She reassures him that the situation is just temporary before expressing remorse for not being there when Dale experienced a breakdown. According to him, she was completely unaware of the impending event. Julie converses with Elgin before departing to collect Ethan. Kenny, Boyd, and Christy have assembled around the thing in the basement. Performing a surgical cut in the chest elicits a neural response. Kenny reiterates his previous apprehensions over doing surgery on an unfamiliar critter before departing. She pursues him, abandoning Boyd in the company of the beast. Kenny conveys his worries about the parasite. She underlines the need of keeping things secret. Whatever Boyd poisoned it with is like poison. If they can remove it and reuse it, they might have something to fight back with. He cautions it is exceedingly risky. She admits to needing him there with her. He proclaims his love for her before pretending to be delighted with her and Mari's reconciliation. Mari walks to the operating room to discover the thing gone. Frantic, she seeks for Christy when encountering Boyd. He asks how she is feeling. She notifies him about the missing thing that is standing at the end of the passageway. He instructs her to flee but she freezes. He shoots several rounds into the beast. She is attracted by the music box. As it jumps at her, she is taken from her wet, gasping nightmare. Fatima and Donna discuss the failed plants. She admits to being pregnant. Stunned, Donna embraces her. Fatima says Ellis doesn't know yet. Donna wonders whether he is the father. Fatima tells her that he is before claiming to have been warned she would never become pregnant. She shares fears about the town insulting her like the animals. Laughing, Donna reminds her of all the unpleasant things the place has brought them. She adds the town also gave her Ellis and a baby. Putting the finishing touches on his new distillation endeavor, Jade offers Tabitha a rapid overview of his previous hallucinations. He shows her the photo of young Victor. She wonders whether his visions usually depict something different. He says except for the emblem. She informs him that her visions never vary, they are always ghostly youngsters. She asks if the town is punishing her for what happened to Thomas. He tells her that it isn't. As she prepares to depart, she wonders whether the emblem in the diary is what he has been talking out. He says yes. She claims to have seen the same symbol on the tunnel walls. Victor and Ethan collect measurements. He points out the changing leaves. Ethan says it happens annually. Victor says it is the first for the town, which could be a sign of something more sinister. With Boyd's help, Christy carefully pulls out the creature's chest. When they see that the creature doesn't have any blood and its parts have died, their shock is obvious. Feeling down because they can't find a clear answer to their problem, Christy's study of the creature's insides takes a dramatic turn when she cuts the gallbladder, letting out a stream of neon yellow-orange fluid. Boyd quickly tells Kenny to get a bottle and a dropper to collect this strange liquid. At the same time, Elgin tells Julie the scary news that Boyd met the mysterious smiley face creature. Julie is confused by Elgin's sad mood and asks him what's wrong. Elgin admits that he is feeling uneasy because of a scary dream that reminds him of an important detail he has forgotten. Julie, always thinking of the practical side of things, suggests taking a relaxing bath, comparing it to standing next to the calm breadth of the ocean. In another part of the story, Fatima goes to see Ellis, who is having a hard time finding peace while he is getting better. As they reassure each other that they are safe, Fatima hints at something she needs to tell him. Boyd and Kenny get together again in the lobby. Boyd shows the animals the vial of bile he has gathered and talks about how it could be used as a weapon against them. Kenny is interested and suggests that they talk about it later, implying that Boyd might get his badge back. While this is going on, Christy tells Mari about their latest, strange findings. The scene changes to Elgin, who does what Julie suggests and takes a bath to feel better. But his attempt to relax is cut short when a music box starts playing, and out of the blue, an old lady forces his head underwater, changing his moment of peace into a dangerous fight for life. In the next episode, Kenny Lu sets the table while Tian Chen Lu finishes making the dinner. At the same time, the phone rings. When he picks up the phone, he hears a sound that is just random noise. In the distance, you can hear a message that says, "They touch, they break, they steal. Every person doesn't have enough freedom. They are coming up behind you in a group of 3, unless you stop the melody," the sentence goes on. He's so upset that it's hard for him to get the point across to Tian. The cicada's kettle makes a buzzing sound when the music box plays a tune. A bug jumps out of the box and lands on his arm. When she pushes him, he accidentally moves it. Right after that, he wakes up again. The person sees the woman leave the room as he feels a burn on his arm. This happens at the same time that a cicada appears in his dream. Randall and Jim Matthews carry out Jim's plan for Randall's robotic flying vehicle. Randall is getting ready to launch the UAV when he starts to wonder what the point of this is. Jim says that he learned new things by figuring out when people, like Sarah Meyer, hit their limit. Russell Randall wants to know if Sarah tried to hurt Ethan Matthews. Jim is set on fighting back against any efforts by the government to change who he really is. The trees are too high for the drone to fly above. After a short chat when Randall first gets to town, he asks about the people who are there. Jim talks about Boyd Stevens, Donna, and Father Katri, who has died. He explains the events that led to Father Katri's death. Randall has questions about the truth of any of the deaths. Jim agrees that the bodies of Brick and Tom were not fully examined to come to a final decision. He learns from Jim that Sarah killed her brother Nathan Myers. According to him, she either did it because she was forced to or because she wanted to show off. Boyd hides the boat key at the police station while Sarah walks in out of the blue to say she wants to go deeper into the forest. He said that there might be woods in that area, and she agrees with him. He said that they went on a long trip and finally came back to the town. She wants to know if they are ready to give up. He tells her that people depend on him and then reminds her that no one wants her to be there. He gives her a job to keep her attention. Jade and Tabitha Matthews go back to the place where they and Victor got out of the hole in the woods. She says she saw the sign in the cave, but she doesn't want to go back. He is interested in whether the animals use it as a place to sleep. Because she confirmed it, he thinks it has something to do with the chaos theory. He remembers that Victor lied to him on purpose about the sign. Julie Matthews greets Victor as she opens the door. While awaiting Ethan's arrival, she expresses gratitude to him for his assistance at the colony house. Ethan apprises Victor of their intention to assist Tian at the diner. Victor presents him with a bag and the coat he worn throughout his childhood. He anticipates the imminent arrival of chilly weather. Ethan attempts to provide him with a self-portrait, but he promptly declines. He proposes that the portrait may prove beneficial in the event of any unfortunate circumstances befalling him. Victor insists on refraining from discussing such matters. Ethan issues a threat to give back the coat unless the recipient agrees to accept his sketch. Victor grudgingly retains it. Boyd recommends that Ellis go to bed. Els affirms his well-being. Christie reports that he is recovering satisfactorily. Boyd doubts his emotional state as Donna forcibly removes him. He inquires whether she would discover activities to occupy Sarah's time. Taken aback, she emphasizes to him the prioritization of their obligations, which surpass the significance of entertaining Sarah. Dale, an individual exhibiting signs of insanity, is now confined to an upper-level bedroom. She notifies him about Elgin's recent incident of nearly drowning last night. He inquires of Elgin whether he would be interested in discussing his encounter. Elgin alleges that he was forcefully submerged in the water. Upon awakening, he has pulmonary aspiration. Boyd inquires whether he disclosed the events at the hospital to anybody. Elgin refuses to endorse the silver bullet approach of injecting the animals with the contaminated fluid without further consideration. Ethan elucidates the concept of the internet to Victor, but Tian interrupts their conversation and takes Victor away. Julie inquires of Ethan whether he intends to remove Victor's malodorous coat. Ethan acknowledges his fondness for it before discovering a mysterious entity, which he then inquires Victor about. During a flashback, Miranda presents her son, a young Victor, with a figurine. She instructs him to exhibit courage. In the current moment, Jade seizes Victor by the neck, reminding him of his failure to fulfill his part of the agreement to play the desired music. Julie prevents Victor from escaping with his bag and lunchbox. Tabitha and Jade rendezvous with Victor. He inquires about the reason for Victor's unwillingness to assist, considering that it would enable them to return home. Victor flees during their altercation. Jim and Randall entered abruptly to find Sarah in possession of the damaged Christmas figurine. Jim inquires about the simultaneous arrival of both she and Nathan in town. She asserts that they were en route to Boston. Jim states that they are now addressing the development of arrival patterns. She informs them that she and Nathan left Pennsylvania. Jim recalls to her the events that occurred in the barn. Upon Donna's arrival with a basket of goods for Sarah to mend, Randall proposes the notion that Nathan's death was orchestrated. He queries the timing of her arrival prior to accusing her of harboring a thirst for power. Sarah informs her that Jim and Randall had been wondering about Nathan's demise. Randall cautions that the truth will remain elusive if Jim persists in being too kind and amiable. Jim implies that Sarah's look conveyed sufficient information, but Donna is not contributing to the situation. He suggests observing from afar before instructing him to rejoin the vehicle without acknowledging any incident. Later, they will convene at the recreational vehicle, RV, to observe and oversee the creatures in their natural environment. Jim being informed about Tabitha's visit to the Colony House and the incident with Victor. He notifies Julie of his intention to spend the night in the recreational vehicle. He promises her that he will get a talisman. As he leaves the diner, he comes upon Donna, who starts asking intrusive questions. He asserts his sole pursuit is to find solutions. She advises him that engaging in harassment towards Sarah over Nathan will not be beneficial. She queries his intense fascination with the voice on the radio, cautioning that implanting a conspiracy theory in Randall's mind may pose a significant risk. According to him, Randall lacks awareness of the voice. Randall is observed engaging in espionage from the bus. While Victor is lost in thought, his mother tells him to be brave and stay in the cellar till morning. She brings her focus to his pictures and gives him a figurine as a present. Now that we're back in the present, Tabitha thanks him for Ethan's coat. She realizes she has a vague memory of the figurine as she grasps it. Why did he completely avoid bringing up the symbol in the tunnel? She wants to know. Those who come here looking for solutions, he says, should never return. He reassures her that there is no way to leave that place when she says it's the only way to get home. Despite his mother's firm belief that they were going home, the author reveals that her hopes were dashed. His images, he tells her, may reveal the long-forgotten details. She makes you think of the pictures in the house while it was falling. To save the lives of others, he admits, he had to hide his pictures. The burn on Boyd's arm is explained to him by Kenny. As far as Boyd is concerned, Elgin has suggested turning the monster's body fluids into silver bullets to kill them. There is no longer any concealment of Mari's solitude. Christie uses deep breathing techniques to calm her down. When Boyd and Kenny arrive at the hospital, Mari tells her that they must go immediately. Unusual noises startle them as they near the boiler room. Concerning Mari's whereabouts in the boiler room, Kenny presses the issue. Is it of significance? She asks. If anything climbs the stairs, Boyd says they should run. They continue on their way until Kenny and he hear what sounds like someone hustling behind the door. Boyd, armed to the teeth, pried open the door and peered under the sheet where the creature had been lying. A swarm of cicadas, similar to the ones in Kenny's nightmare, has descended upon the area. They return to the lobby. Before explaining his dream, Kenny asks him to remember his earlier comment on the need of preserving the body. Elgin vividly recalls being submerged in water in a dream and then waking up with water in his lungs, which Christy recalls. Kenny shows off the burn scar on his arm. Donna is adamant about knowing what's going on right now. Victor walks with Tabitha to the station wagon that belongs to his family. Show bravery, she tells him. He claims that while confining him to the root cellar, his mother had made a similar comment. Boyd and Donna go to the boiler room's entrance and hear nothing out of the ordinary. According to her, he hid information from her until she found out about it. His expression of regret is accompanied by a promise to never do it again. She wants to know more about the creature's internal fluids. He continues by saying it's worth a shot after providing a brief explanation. When they open the door, they don't see any cicadas. Their dispersion is her suggestion. They have locked the door, he tells her. The cremation of the beast's body parts is her solemn demand. The monster is loaded into a wagon by Kenny and Body. She argues that, to keep the smoke from being seen by anybody, it must be burned at a significant distance from the town. Before promising to go to the police station with Sarah, Boyd suggests they switch up their sleeping schedules. He warns that things are likely to heat up with Mari's departure. Wanting to get away from Sarah, Christy asks Donna if Marie and her may stay at the colony house. I agree with Donna. The preparation of the beast's corpse for burning is something that Randall watches. Tabitha tries to open Christopher's car trunk, but Victor stops her. He opens the hatch and a flashback from his boyhood comes flooding back. He and his mother were playing in the cellar. He quickly gets back to work, searching the drawings until he finds one that shows his sister Eloise and himself. Eloise begs her mother not to leave, and his mother tells him to find her. He claims he doesn't own the drawings, but a flashback reveals that their mother gave Eloise the order to make them. Instead of Victor, it appears that Eloise is the artist. Their mother promises that they will return home first thing in the morning. Getting back to the present, it doesn't matter how much Tabitha tries to console him. Through a flashback, we observe Eloise's decision to follow their mother instead of staying in the cellar. Before acknowledging their mutual involvement, Randall apologizes to Donna. A civil and courteous conversation with her is what he seeks. While Kenny makes an improvised torch, Boyd uses gasoline to submerge the beast. Kenny sets the beast ablaze. Kenny says, "I've grown so used to feeling scared that it's now starting to feel ordinary as the monster is consumed by flames." The sketches are lying all over the floor. Tabitha listens as Victor describes what happened in the cellar last night. She rushes to find out more after getting a glimpse of a rough sketch of a building. He tells her that the night before the town disaster, Eloise had claimed that her mother had gone to the spot. It is said that their mother went to the place in an effort to free the children held in the tower. Ethan and Julie have received praise from Tian. She tells them to return the next day. A loud buzzing noise and a desperate cry for help come from a nearby house as Boyd and Kenny go out for a stroll around town when they are frightened. Shortly after, a person soaked in blood and frantically requesting help stepped out of the main door. Jim hears Donna's voice and spots a vehicle on his way to meet Randall with its hatch open. She was bound to a tree, but he freed her by following her cries. Suddenly, Randall swats a blade at a nearby tree. Jim wants to know what he's up to right now. He is apprised of the change in his tactics by Randall. Reggie leads Boyd Stevens and Kenny Lou to the body of Paula. Before this, Sarah and Nathan lived in the house. When she screamed, Reggie said he was downstairs. He said that when he walked in, she was in the middle of a bad dream. They touch, break, and steal, she told them over and over. No one is free around here. He has heard the same thing in his dreams too. Boyd comes out of the house to a crowd of people and the sharp buzzing of cicadas. Someone named Ethan Matthews wants to know if you're okay. After letting him know that everything is fine, he sends him home and asks Julie Matthews to stay with him. After seeing Reggie's bloody fall from the house, Tian Chen Lu tempts Ethan with the promise of food. Boyd looks into it to let the people in the area know about the dangers of sleeping. Julie wants to know why attacks are happening during the day. He talks more about the new threat. After telling him that Jim Matthews plans to spend the night in the RV, she leaves. Donna is being held back by Randall. When she gets out of jail, she tells him she plans to kill him. He says she was talking to a strange being at the clinic. He says she scared the people in the area by hiring the monsters. He learns from her about how Boyd killed the smiley face creature. Even though Jim is shocked by what Randall is doing with Donna, he says it was his idea. Randall tries to stop Jim from setting her free, but she is not guilty. When Randall waves his knife, Boyd shoots into the air. Boyd holds Randall at gunpoint and tells him to drop the knife. Jim then gets the knife and uses it to free Donna. It's getting dark when they get in the van and find that Randall has buried the keys in the bush. Tabitha Matthews tries to get Julie to come inside. When Jade and Victor talk about how dangerous it is to sleep during the day, Julie takes care of Jim's overnight stay in the RV. Julie and Ethan are worried about Jim's RV stay, so Tabitha is busy. She tells them that Boyd would protect Jim if he had to. After Kenny goes, Sarah tells him she appreciates him staying with her. He tells her it's not her fault he doesn't want to be there. She says things are different now that she and Boyd have been into the woods. According to Boyd, she says that the city is trying to make them sad. Kenny stops her and asks what's going on. She talks about how Nathan's fear of cicadas was made clear to her while they were camping. She says more about her idea that the forest holds and shapes the darkest thoughts of the dead. Ellis and Fatima hear what Reggie says about what happened before Paula died. Reggie says that something broke her. Because Dana isn't there, everyone is scared about her. Christy makes things worse until Fatima comes in and suggests they work together. Mari should have her own room, says Christy. Just as they were about to figure out the plan, Boyd stopped them without warning, which bothers Randall. Jim tells him that now is not the right time to talk about it. Randall finally accepts that his family is in bad shape after trying to hurt them. Boyd puts handcuffs on as an intervention. Boyd keeps yelling at Randall and threatens to tie him to a tree if he doesn't stop. Hot-wiring the car to get it going is an option that is being thought about. Ellis asks Christy about Mari's health while helping her get groceries at the colony house. He learns from her that Mari's escape is even tougher than before. His fear is that Fatima isn't getting enough rest. At 7 weeks along, she doesn't think it's time to be worried. He is worried about the baby's future and thinks that it might turn out to be scary. She laughs as she talks about medical school and the magic ball of fire idea. Tabitha and Jade examine the artwork that Eloise created. He finds it puzzling that Victor seemed to have disregarded his sister. As he gazes at the artwork depicting 2 Civil War soldiers, he inquires as to its inspiration. She implies that Eloise drew inspiration for them from her mother's tales and then moved on to a tower sketch. Everyone in town apparently killed that night, and Miranda went there. The accuser asserts that Victor was informed by Eloise that Miranda rushed to the tower in an effort to save the kids. In an effort to get Ethan to play a game, Julie suggests a board game. When asked whether Jim will die, he says yes. They will be okay, she tells him. Chromonocle is a narrative she brought up, and he says it's dumb. He storms out of the room after asking whether her narrative concluded like she wanted it to. After Elgin's suggestion, Boyd begins producing silver bullets. According to Donna, Randall ought to give it a go. They are being pursued by a swarm of monsters. Randall gladly accepts her challenge as he fills the cylinder with silver bullets. She begs him to give it to her. As soon as the CB radio starts playing music, the animals stop a short distance away from the RV. Mari yells out, "Get away from me," in a panic, but Christy quickly arrives to soothe her. Mari states that she was joined by an object in the room. Christy reassures her that she is experiencing nothing more than withdrawal hallucinations. In her hysterical, out-of-control tantrum, Mari assaults her and holds her responsible for everything. As soon as Christy gets her to relax, she keeps going. Sarah attempts to elicit a response from Kenny by bringing up a memory of Tian expressing her gratitude for being able to spend time with her family. As for what transpired to his father, she expresses her regrets. She remarks that it must be tough for them to notice her. She asserts that she requested to go back to the forest. She is informed by him that he is not feeling sorry for her. She would have been in the box by now, he says, if he had his way. He is adamant that she end her discussion of his father. She reminds him of all the things the community took away for her. He proposes she finish it with Boyd's spare gun before leaving her alone. When Reggie rings the neighborhood bell, he hopes to wake everyone up. His main point is that an amulet can't protect you from all dangers. Reggie hits Ellis hard as he tries to help. Elgin steps in to help and holds Reggie down. Fatima tries to make him feel better. Reggie says that the town is trying to kill them all. Elgin grabs him and takes him upstairs. It's Jim's job to watch the animals that aren't moving while Boyd looks for the music. He says the music always means bad things are going to happen. You can hear a thump 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 from under the RV after the song is over. As soon as the lights go out, Randall grabs a hammer. He breaks a window and then jumps out. Boyd then breaks a window, which lets Donna and Jim get away. Randall leaves with the creatures in his arms. This is how Jim and Donna get to the car. Things don't seem to be getting better with Boyd's rounds. A woman calls his name. He sees Abby Stevens as he turns around. She calls out to him. Abby just goes away. He gets out of the RV and tries to shoot a monster, but the bullet misses. While Donna, Jim, and Boyd drive out of town in the van, cicadas swarm over Randall and bother him. Sarah has a gun and bullets with her when Kenny finds her. "Please put it away," he asks. She isn't sure if everyone wanted her to die. Instead of the box, she says to use the gun. She lifts the loaded gun to shoot him while the barrel is pressed against her head. As expected, the first shot doesn't hit its mark. He steps in and grabs the gun as she cocks it. As soon as he walks into the room, he wants to know what's wrong with her. Elgin shows Tilly how to crochet. Fatima says that everyone should stay away. After telling her how great she is, Tilly tells her she will be a great mom. Fatima asks the woman how she found out she was pregnant. Tilly tells her that she knows how to spot a pregnant woman because she has 4 kids and 7 grandchildren. After that, a car pulls up to the curb. Matthias answers the door armed while Boyd, Donna, and Jim are there. While Christy is getting drinks, Mari thinks she hears cicadas. When Christy comes back with a glass of water, the bugs land on her. When Mari tells Christy about the cicadas, Christy calms her down by telling her that they are just a dream. Jim tries to get away, but an armed guard stops him while Boyd and Donna calm down the people in the area. Boyd says that danger is invited every time someone opens a door. When Christy thinks Mari is about to choke her, she screams for help. He says Mari needs a doctor, not a boyfriend. Donya can talk to Ellis for Boyd if he needs to. Elgin said that in his dream, a little boy taking the bus was white. It was the kid who would not stop singing, he said. Here they come for 3. Bakta says it sounds like an old-fashioned kid's song. She goes on, they pull, they break, and they steal. Everyone here has to pay. They'll be here for 3 hours if you don't stop the music. Jade tells Tabitha that what she is suggesting is crazy. Her words remind him of what he said before, that everything is connected. As she works on the drawing with the building, she wonders if it's the link. She says that her saving the kids might depend on their safe return. A sharp shriek draws their attention. At the same time as Randall and Mari, they find Julie fighting cicadas on the floor. After what happened last night, which looked like a seizure, Christy starts by assessing Julie Matthew. Vic and Tian Chen Lu took Ethan Matthews to a diner to keep him safe from all the chaos. When Boyd Stevens and Jade worry about Julie's health, they feel helpless. After coming up with a plan, Boyd quickly goes to talk with Sarah Myers. Donna, Dale, and Elgin are looking for Randall near the RV park. Even though Randall is a jerk, Donna says she won't leave him. He walks up and sees Randall lying on the floor. He wants to know where the bodies are while she checks for a pulse. She said that the silver bullet theory didn't work. When she finds out Randall is still alive, she tells Elgin and Dale to bring him to the car. Randy opens his eyes and screams while Dale holds his shoulder. At the same time, Julie and Marielle both scream. It has been found that all 3 of them have eyes that are wet. Sarah, Boyd, and Kenny are on their way to the shell of an old castle that is falling apart. She doesn't understand how what they're doing will help. Boyd says that after following the little boy in White's directions, they got to the tree that led him back to the well where it all started. After saying that he had dreamed about Boy in White, Elgin says that there must be a link. She tells them that the boy in white didn't look like a real boy. Boyd says Sarah might use this as a chance to fix how people see her in the neighborhood. He looks for a picture of how the castle used to look. She first says that she heard it before naming the place. Neither Boyd nor Kenny can see the package she is looking for so badly. She says they're yelling while she cries out because her nose is bleeding. Sarah rubs her ears and hums the childhood song. She says that only one of them will not do, it needs all of them. As Boyd and Kenny lead her away from the ruins, she says that Boyd's choice to let it go makes her laugh. She says that the goal is to harm people. He thinks, how can I stop it? She tells him that Julie and Mari are very close to dying. She says that the only way to make things better is to turn off the music. Tilly is in charge of a prayer group. Donna has made it clear that she wants Matthias to put them in the shed. Tabitha tells Jim Matthews that the last time they saw each other, Victor's mother Miranda was on her way to a tower to save the kids. She says it might have something to do with her dreams and fears. He talks about the time when his tower theory turned out to be wrong. It's also important to remember that Miranda isn't there. She tells him that she has plans to do something. The food is brought back by Victor, Lou, and Ethan. Victor is asked by Tabitha if he knows how to get to the tower. He is adamant that he only knows about the bottle tree. He brings out a drawing of the bottle tree from the collection. Boyd says Kenny and Sarah should go back to town. According to Kenny, The most important thing is to destroy the music box. Boyd asks how after being reassured that he is aware of the risks. They all agree that making sure everyone feels safe is the most important thing. Reggie wants to say sorry to Ellis Stevens for being quiet last night. He talks about how Paula was Reggie's rock. The things that happened with Paula were not his fault, Ellis tells him. Fatima suggests getting married today instead of tomorrow, when the weather might not be good. Jade tries to decide what to do as Tom gets closer. It takes some time for him to explain his idea. Tom wants to go back to the cave entrance where Victor and Tabitha saw the sign. Everyone starts laughing after a short fight. Tom says people shouldn't think about what might happen when they do the right thing. Instead, they should follow their own sense of what is right. Matthias puts the guns away when Reggie comes with him. He cuts his throat while they are sitting there. With a gun in his hand, he comes out of the shed. When Jade loses his balance, he ties one end of the rope to a tree and goes into the underground cave. After sliding down a slope, he stops at the bottom of it. As the light fades, his puppet dreams get worse. He goes up to them because he thinks a famous person is messing with Boyd's works. If Father Katri were there, he would be the one to say it is God's work. He tells Father Katri off for praying with his last breath, even though he doesn't believe in God. Donna tells him that tampering with mail is against the law at the federal level. He then lashes out at a metal mailbox. Mari's health is getting worse, which worries Christy. Mari made her believe that they could do something. His father, Bing Chien Lu, said, "If you're just a thread, it's hard to see a sweater." He admits that the only thing he knows is what that means. Boyd tells Doris that Sarah said Mari, Julie, and Randall are going to die. He then says that it will not be possible to hide it after they die. He is upset about having to destroy a made-up music box because it is making him angry. She praises all the good things he has done for the community. She says that Ellis and Fatima are tying the knot to make the most of the short time they have together. When Jade is with kids, her fantasies look like Tabitha's. It turned out that his finding of the symbol, which happened while kids yelled Ang Kui, was a dream. Tabitha goes with Victor to the bottle tree that doesn't seem to be there anymore. He is drawn to the place where bottles are clinking together. He says that's where he found his mother. They walk around to the other side and find the hole. He says that the bottle tree leads to the tower and each faraway tree leads to a different place. After stepping into a faraway tree, she is in the forest that leads to the door to the tower. Fatima is led down the aisle by Boyd. When they write their own vows, Fatima quotes her father, "Life is a journey through the unknown. Your mind and eyes may sometimes lie to you, but your heart will never lie." She tells Ellis everything on her mind. He tells her how he felt about her the first time he saw her. Boyd tells them he loves them and hopes the best for them. Boyd leaves with the flashlight in his hand and runs into Reggie, who is loading a shot into his gun. He points the gun at Boyd after cocking it. He thinks that he killed Paula. Reggie shoots Boyd in the left shoulder and tells him that he had nothing to do with her death. Reggie puts another bullet into the chamber as Boyd falls to the ground. Boyd shoots him several times before he can make the shot. He shines his flashlight on the spot where he met Martin. He finds the music box, Mari, Randall, and Julie all tied to a wall. Abby Stevens begs him not to break the music box as he is about to do it. The chained prisoners woke up with death roars. She tries to talk him out of breaking the music box. She says it feeds on people's hope, which makes them want to hurt. Fear doesn't feed the trees, hope does. The three hostages come through as he breaks the music box. A German shepherd runs away in the opposite direction from Boyd, who is standing in the middle of the castle ruins. When Tabitha hears Ang Kui sounds, she goes up a spiral stairs. The boy in white pushes her off the tower at the top. She wakes up in a hospital to the sound of ringing all the time. Dr. Brody is brought back by the nurse. She learns that 3 days ago, 2 walkers found her on a trail in the woods. As the last show ends, she is shocked to see a busy city below the window.